Well, the scene is set here in Swift Current, and that's where the Broncos got off to a quick start in the series. But it was the Regina Pats with a quick answer one night later in their new addition, Cameron Hebig, leading the way to even the series. Back in Regina, it was the Broncos' turn, and their captain, Glenn Godden, getting them back on top. But the Pats had an answer one night later and evening the series at 2 apiece. Then it was Tyler Steenbergen's turn, the superstar, with 3 goals, putting the Broncos back up. But 23 had an answer for the Pats, forcing Game 7. The greatest words in hockey, Game 7. And this guy, Sam Steele, knows all about Game 7 last year in Regina against the Broncos. He had a pair of goals in that Game 7 win. He's looking to help propel the Pats into the second round tonight. We know it's going to be all about the goaltenders and has been in this series. Stuart Skinner up and down, but for the most part, he's been fantastic. And Ryan Kubik back in goal for the Regina Pats, the former Saskatoon Blade, former Vancouver Giant, will look to be big on the road here and shut down the Swift Current Broncos in Game 7 as we say hello and welcome on a big, big night here in the Western Hockey League playoffs. I'm Darren Dupont. It was last year in the second round that the Pats and Broncos met in Game 7. That year, a 5-1 Regina victory. That game was back in Regina. This year, it's the Broncos with home ice advantage. As I mentioned off the top, Sam Steele had a pair of goals. There's Austin Wagner and his speed flying to seal it with the empty net. And the Pats moved on to take on the Lethbridge Hurricanes in round 3. Tonight, they'll look to take on the winner of Moose Jaw and Prince Albert. As we get a chance to welcome in Les Lazaruk here tonight. Les, Sam Steele was big. He got his first goal of the series a couple of nights ago. He's got to be big again tonight.
Is that going to be a foreshadowing of what might happen for the Regina Pats in Game 7? Sam Steele has 8 assists in this series as well, but that first goal, here's a guy who's got a great shot, and if he can get a couple of more here tonight like he did in Game 7 last year, it could be happy days and moving on to round 2 for the Regina Pats.
And of course, in this series, it's been up and down, but when the Broncos have been rolling, it's been because of the top 3.
Well, the top 3 and because of their power play. 18 goals have been scored by each team. The big line has accounted for 7 out of 11 power play goals for the Swift Current Broncos. The Pats have only scored 5 power play goals. So it's a 3-headed monster, especially on the power play. But you take a look at the plus-minus column. Heponiemi's -5, Steenbergen's -2, Godden's -1. They're going to have to be better 5-on-5. Not just those 3 guys for the Broncos, but that entire Bronco team. The Pats have outshot the Broncos by a wide margin. And you can say, yeah, shots don't matter, quality of shots. The Pats have had good quality shots as well, especially after game number 1. Stuart Skinner has won a couple of games with his goaltending. The Pats and the Broncos here tonight. Which team is going to blink first and make the big mistake that allows the other one to take the advantage?
There's a look at the bracket. We know we're going to move one more team. It'll either be the Broncos or the Pats on that right side of the bracket. They're going to move into the second round. Big Game 7 tomorrow happening in Moose Jaw. The Warriors and the Raiders. Prince Albert pushing one of the top teams in the country to the brink in that series. And we also know that now Victoria Vancouver are going to play a Game 7. Noah Gregor scoring 7:06 into the first overtime not so long ago here today. That Game 7 will be in Vancouver. There's Jesse Gabriel. He's going to make his second appearance of the series. Played in Game 3. He's been in and out due to injury. He's in tonight. So is Logan Nyav for the Regina Pats. That means Emil Oxenden actually coming out of the lineup here for Regina tonight. Our coverage of the Pats brought to you by Tyson Mining, the full-service underground contractor of choice. Visit TysonMining.com. Strap in. Game 7 is next.
As we welcome to sing the national anthem, Ree Olsen.
Oh, Canada, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Down 2,890 on hand here at Innovation Credit Union iPlex for Game 7. The Broncos and the Pats. Les Lazaruk along with Darren DuPont in the broadcast booth here at the iPlex, getting ready for Game 7. There's your goaltender for the Regina Pats, Ryan Kubik. 3.08, 89.5%. Been very good in the wins, not so much so in the losses. Same goes at the other end, though, for the Swift Current Broncos. Stuart Skinner, 3 wins, 3 losses. That save percentage at 92.2% as the Pats have outshot the Broncos by a significant amount in this series. Actual count is 209 to 172, or an average of 36 to 29. There's your starting lineups. Presented by Rico Telecommunications, your industrial and commercial fiber optics construction and maintenance team, connecting Saskatchewan to the world of information. We are underway here in Swift Current. Game number 7, flipped out to center and on into the Pats end. Back to it is 19-year-old Brady Puteau in his second tour of duty with the Pats. Gets it up the left wing, pinching down on Bryce Platt was Caden Elderson. No icing on the play. Rimmed up the far boards, held in. Henry in front, gets it to the goal. The redirect not there from Bryce Platt, turned aside by Skinner. Out to center ice. Puteau stops up a Swift Current rush. Dumped back into the Swifty end. Stuart Skinner couldn't trap it behind the net. Lecition stripped off his stick, sent to the line. Fleury tried to kick at it and keep it onside and couldn't. Peering over the line, a shot hit with the Emmy. Fought off by Kubik. Big rebound and taken now by Cale Fleury. Former Kootenay Ice member off a stick in over the line. Sam Steele, the Pat captain, an undisputed leader. Can't get away from 3 men. And the Broncos leader, Glenn Godden. Long shot from just outside the blue line. Absorbed and held by Ryan Kubik, and we're 58 seconds in.
Well, you gotta love the atmosphere here in Swift Current. It's been a sellout every night, but they're nervous. This is a team that's supposed to be on a lengthy playoff run, and it could all be over tonight. This is a big game, a big atmosphere, and you could ask for nothing else. A Game 7 to decide it all.
Lots of Broncos jerseys, a couple of hundred Pats fans and Pat jerseys in the crowd as well tonight. So both sides represented. It's going to be loud. It's been loud for every game, because every game in this series has been a sellout, whether it be here or in Regina at the Brandt Center. Fleury to the left wing. Steele, good job to trap it in his skates and backhand on into the Broncos end. Skinner swings it up the far wing. Mallenstein couldn't get it out. Steele, Hyman shot, blocked. Aaron Hyman again into the slot, a shot. Save made. Skinner, rebound. Steele can't get it in front of the goal on the redirect, and the Broncos get it up to center ice. Aaron Hyman with it there again. Hyman acquired at the trade deadline from Seattle. He played on that Thunderbird championship team last year. Dumped into the Bronco end. Up with it along the near boards is big Scott Mahavlich. He gets shoved to the ice though by the Broncos. To the line, Puteau a shot. That doesn't get to the net. Josh Anderson, recently signed by Colorado, clears the zone. Sent back into the Swift Current end by Puteau. Behind the net is 18-year-old Noah King. Anderson turns it over. A shot from the outside by Mahavlich goes wide. Puteau holds the left point. Knocked away from Bradley. Puteau one more time keeps it in. Centered into the middle. Bradley, a shot, a save. Rebound! Big stop again by Skinner as Mahavlich went crashing in and just failed to put it by the Swift Current netminder. This is dumped down the ice by the Broncos from their side of center, and an icing call.
Well, great start for the Pats. Brady Puteau had 3 assists in Game 6, and he's already had a good start. What I think he does so well, better than anything, is his commitment at the blue line in the offensive zone. He loves to pinch along the wall. He kept a play open that led to that scoring chance that we saw not too long ago in that last sequence. And he's really good. He's got confidence as a veteran. Of course, he played against the Pats with the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final last year, and a big addition on the back end. His game is taking another step forward.
Las Vegas Golden Knights draft pick Jake Leschyshyn won a draw, but Nick Henry can't get it in on net. Chipped out and past Josh Mahura. Onto it, Big Max Patterson. Patterson along the inboard, squeezed out by Fleury. Patterson keeps it alive. Gets a return feed from Estefan. Twisting and turning, grinding along the corner boards, trying to come free. Estefan back to the line. Shot doesn't get to the net. Off the stick of Colby Sissons, and it's played out of the zone by the Pats to center. Leschyshyn couldn't flag that down. Colby Sissons signed as a free agent a couple of years ago by the New Jersey Devils. In on the rush, his shot sails high and wide, and off the glass it comes to Platt. Leaves it for Tanner Sidaway. Drives it into the Swift Current end. Two players tie up. And Jesse Gabriel on the ice for the first time now gives Estefan a bump in neutral ice. Up with it, Couteau shovels it on into the Bronco end. Sissons back to it. Here comes Gabriel. Sissons pokes it away and avoids contact. Got it to Artyom Manulin. Left wing at center for Beck Malenstein. Washington Capitals draft pick. Signed by the Caps. Gets in over the line. Taken off the puck by Parker Gavlis. Played up the near side. Manulin keeps it in. That rims around behind the net. Anderson in from the left point. Can't get it in deep past Gavlis, who lifted off the boards and down the ice. But once again, we've got an icing call. 3:36 into the hockey game.
Well, we have the intensity we've been waiting for, but we've seen this at times at the start of games in this series. Does it continue? The emotion is there, the intensity is there, and we're seeing the Broncos start to push back a little bit now after the Pats had a good surge in the first 2.5 minutes.
The most notable thing that is missing from the first two games is the after whistle scrums, pushing and shoving. We get it occasionally, but in game one especially, it was after every whistle as they tried to establish physical dominance. Maybe they think they've got that physical dominance. I think you still want to do it here in Game 7, but you got to do it carefully so as you don't get penalized. And that's obviously the one thing you're afraid of, especially on the Pat side with that Bronco power play working the way it is.
You have to pick your spots, and Game 6, a great example of the discipline. We didn't see our first penalties until coincidental minors right at the 20-minute, the end of the first period.
Hooked by Savan Kara into the Regina end. Couteau will get a return feed from his D partner, Fleury. Ahead at center on the left wing, Steele. Cross ice pass missed its target. Bumped ahead by Alexei Heponiemi. Florida Panther draft pick with 8 assists. No goals as of yet. Steele the other way. Scored for the first time in Game 6 in the 7-2 Regina victory that forced this Game 7. And now away come the Broncos. Andrew Fighton acquired from the Calgary Hitmen at the deadline. Gets dumped on the play. Fans here at Swift Current hollering for an interference penalty. Might have been a little bit beyond a 1 or 2 count, but no call. The officials, Chris Kreitch and Brett Iverson, two of the best in the Western Hockey League. Not just working tonight, they're also going to work tomorrow night's Game 7 between Moose Jaw and Prince Albert, and that's going to be a dandy at Mosaic Place. Here's Anderson, a shot for the Broncos. Stick save by Kubik. Big rebound high off the end glass. In after it is Tanner Nagel. His pass looked like it hit the goal lights in behind the net, but play not whistled down. They're considered to be in play. Mahura sends it ahead into the Bronco end, cleared right back out. Now a hit man feed for Matt Bradley. The 20-year-old with a long shot, gloved by Skinner. He'll hold on.
Well, Stuart Skinner is going to be relied upon to have himself a big night here for the Broncos. The Pats have put shots towards him, and they're coming off a really big Game 6. So Bradley, what do? Let's test him early. Let's start throwing pucks towards the big goaltender and see where his head is at early in this hockey game. The one thing he'll have tonight that he didn't have in Regina is a hometown crowd behind him.
He gave up 5 goals on 24 shots in 2 periods in Game 6. This is his 31st career playoff game, and he gets tested again from off the left wing by Nick Henry, but a stick save at the near post. Leschyshyn back to the line, Hyman. Across to the left point, Couteau. Back to Hyman. Midpoint shot goes wide off the backboards. Henry brings it out in front. Didn't get the wraparound he might have been looking for. Back to the line, Hyman. Couteau delays, waits, gets away from Tanner Nagel. Now moves in a shot. Off the glove, fought off by goaltender Skinner. And then the rebound cleared out to center ice. Aaron Hyman back to it. Lead pass at center. Taken away by Patterson, gives to Estefan, and at the end of a shift, backhands into the Regina end. Patterson stays out on the forecheck. Couteau Takes a bump from Patterson, but got it ahead to Bryce Platt. And now in the middle for Sam Steele. On his own, 1-on-3 and over the line. Puts on the brakes, waiting for some help off the bench. Feeds Scholler. Liam Scholler, shot deflected right in on goal. They score! Stuart Skinner is complaining that it's a kicked-in goal. It's a goal as it stands right now, but this may have to go upstairs for a video review. But the shot from the blue line deflected in on net and then off of another Pat player in front and in. And for the moment, the Pats think they've opened the scoring. 6:07 in.
All right, let's see this again. It's Cameron Hebig in front. You can kick it in outside the crease.
Yes, you can.
He was so close to the paint right there, and that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Whether he kicks it or redirects it, he's outside the blue paint. It doesn't matter that his foot moves forward. It matters to where the puck leaves the skate from.
Wow.
Is he kicking it in the crease or not? And if you look at it, that puck is off his skate long before the puck or the skate gets anywhere near the crease.
So again, that's going to be the question here for the video goal judge. And again, the rule, as Darren states, you can kick it in the Western Hockey League so long as you're not in the crease or in the blue paint.
Cameron Hebig looking like he's maybe has his 6th of the playoffs here. It's under review. Here's the look at it again. Watch the skate kick. He's not in the paint when he connects with that puck at all. This has to be a good goal.
This doesn't look like it from those camera angles that we have seen. But the conversation continues, and you see the officials huddled up, and it's a good goal.
Absolutely. Now you're going to know fans are going to say, well, he kicked it in. And that's true.
Yes.
This isn't the NHL. You don't have the referees mic'd up to announce the call and to be able to calm everybody down.
So Cam Hebig opens the scoring. The Saskatoon kid with his 6th goal of the postseason. And the Pats have the lead as they have opened the scoring for the 5th time in 7 games. Liam Scholler gets one of the assists. In the Swift Current end, Matteo Gennaro. Sent in around behind the net to the near wing. Sissons up the boards. Elder can't get out against Mahura, but now Gennaro follows up for Mallenstein. Puts on the brakes in front, deflected away from the front of the goal by Hebig. Cale Fleury out of his right wing corner. Up the right wing boards. He takes a big hit to Fleury and looks back at the referee, thinking he got hit from behind. Beck Mallenstein with a big hit on Fleury. Play back in the Swift Current end. Pats can't get it to the net. Here comes Elder and Mallenstein 2-on-2. Elder for Mallenstein. Knocked off stride. Fleury gets his revenge there with a hit that knocks Mallenstein down and sends the Pats back the other way. Bradley sifts it into the Swift Current zone. Skinner out of the net, plays it up the far boards. Bradley into the middle. That jumped away from Lecition. Played back to the line. Bradley wheeling to the right wing. Hyman shot to the front of the net, deflected and wide of the goal. Noah King for the Broncos. Battling there with Lecition. Works it up the left wing boards. Hooked into the middle of the ice by Alexei Heponiemi and taken by Captain Glenn Godden. Long shot turned aside by Kubik. Godden with his own rebound. Overskates it. Hyman looking for it behind the net. Loses it. Godden centering. Heponiemi was alone there, but he couldn't come up with it. And the Pats are able to clear it past Anderson to center. Gabriel gets clipped with a stick on the follow-through by Anderson. No penalty call. Broncos hit the Pats line. Heponiemi on the left wing. For Sissons, a one-timer, and the pass got to him a little quicker than he was expecting, and he failed to make contact. Steenbergen, the golden boy for Team Canada at the World Juniors, couldn't control it. This is dumped down the ice. A race for it. Sissons will win that against Logan Nyhoff, making his first appearance of the postseason. An icing call against the Pats, who are out shooting the Swift Current Broncos on the Western Litho Printers shot clock, 8-3, as you see on our screen here right now.
Well, Pat's out to a quick start a couple of games ago. They got out to a quick start here in Game 5, but as we found out in that game, it was the second goal that was a big one, and it was Steenbergen that got it, and then Godden in the final minute of that first period making it 2-1, and that was the difference.
Scrambled play in front, fight and put it wide. Nagel under check from Couteau, couldn't get a stick on it. Now wheeling back to the line, Estevan, a shot blocked by Lecition. It bounces out to center, and Lecition chases it down, and from the Swift Current side of center, sends it the rest of the way down into the Bronco end so that the Pats can get a change. Parker Gavlis ties up fighting, won't let him get free. Now Steele intercepts in over the line, wheeling to the left wing, still going, gonna circle the net, looks back to the right point, Gavlis across, left wing side, shoulder, a shot right on. Skinner down, absorbs and holds, and we'll get a face-off in the Swift Current end with 8:43 gone in the first.
Well, here's a good sequence. Sam Steele moves in with some pressure, but watch the patience from number 23. He's got his head up the whole way, comes around the back of the net before finding an outlet at the blue line. And one of the things that Sam Steele does so well is he doesn't force it. He's not forcing the play. He's not trying to immediately throw it on goal or the front of the net. He's looking for the smart play, and this time it was out to the blue line and then across and on goal.
Sent up the boards off of one face-off by the Broncos. Steenbergen cross ice. Heponiemi touches it, but on his side of center, and as a result, as it goes all the way down the ice, icing against the Broncos, and they haven't really gotten going just yet in this game. The Pats, with a quick start, scoring the opening goal, seem to have the Broncos a bit back on their heels at this moment.
Yeah, a little bit. Jesse Gabriel thought maybe he got high-sticked not too long ago as he was coming through the neutral zone. The stick rides up, catches him a little bit in the mouth. Broncos get away with an early one here in the first.
Broncos winning faceoffs once again. Game 5, they won 44 of 78 faceoffs. Long shot, save made. Skinner, big rebound, and Bradley was to it first. Now Bradley in front. Gabriel fans on it. Shot from the line by Mahura. That hit traffic in front and went high and wide of the net. And the Broncos come back the other way. Steenbergen rattles it into the Regina end off the shin guards of Fleury. Mahura in the left wing corner. Takes contact there from Steenbergen. And now has him wrapped up in a headlock. Fleury. Godden trying to take it away. They battle a scrum for it in the Regina left wing corner. Finally, Steenbergen works it free, but Gabriel is there to take it. And the 20-year-old from Moosomin works it out to center ice. Savan Kara, left wing, lifted by the Broncos. Heponiemi into the Regina end. Broncos getting a change. Here's Bryce Platt, the 19-year-old former Calgary hitman, getting it into the Swift Current end. Sissons up the far wing, cut off, sent to the line again, held in by Hyman. Henry tries a shot, didn't get much on it, to the front of the goal, and Kara plays it to the sideboards. Onto it are the Pats again. Platt spins in the right wing corner, bounce pass to the line. Hyman near wing, Puto from the line, a shot wide, up the backboards in front. Skinner with a save there off of Bryce Platt as that puck came off the backboard and shot right to the right of the Swift Current goal, and Platt got a piece of it, but Skinner keeps it out. 9:49 left to go in the first period. Regina opened the scoring and almost had a second one there after a big rebound from Stuart Skinner. As you're watching the WHL Playoffs on Access.
Well, Stuart Skinner's been busy. 12 shots on goal. He's stopped 11 of them so far. Here the Pats try and go off the back wall. Heads up play by Brady Puteau. But Stuart Skinner not giving you any room on that short side whatsoever. And Manny Viveros in this group, they're not panicking yet. The first goal has been big for the most part in this series, but as we found out, the second goal I think is even bigger. And he got it last time in this building in Game 5. He got the second and the third goal, two huge ones.
On the power play again.
Yes.
That's the thing that the Pats have to be mindful of. 5 of the 6 games, a team has gone up 1-0 and 2-0. The only time it didn't happen was in Game 5. The Broncos able to come back from giving up the opening goal and winning that game quite decisively, as it turned out. As play back underway in the Swift Current zone, up with it on the far wing is Beck Mallenstein lifting it out to center. Fleury gloves it down, gets a stick on it for Steele. Backing it up into his end for Josh Mahura. Mahura starts forward, his left wing pass. Bradley, the 20-year-old former Medicine Hat Tiger, touches it on into the Bronco end. Hebig and Mallenstein avoid colliding with each other. Fleury a shot from the line, and Skinner with a save. Hebig can't take it away from Gennaro, and 20-year-old Gennaro for Mallenstein. Former line mates in Calgary net together again. Here's a shot by Gennaro, and a glove save made by Ryan Kubik, his best of the game. He hasn't been overly tested so far, but that's his best of 4 saves so far.
Well, a great feed in front to find Gennaro. Just a little feed right through the Pat defenseman, and a good shot stopped by Ryan Kubik. And there's John Paddock. We just saw him move Matt Bradley up for a shift with Sam Steele and Cameron Hebig. He's done that, moving Bradley up at times through the regular season, so he knows he's got the option and that they have some chemistry. If they need offense, you'll see that a lot. Although Robbie Holmes has been really good on that line with Hebig and Steele, you'll see him put Matt Bradley up there just for an extra offensive surge.
Big save off the left pad by Ryan Kubik as the Broncos won a face-off cleanly and came right to Steenbergen of all people. Huge stop by Kubik. Broncos, now they get it to the line, and the linesman is going to say, Cody Hughesby, saying that Josh Anderson at the left point was outside the blue line and the puck came out. He didn't quite keep it onside there.
You talked about face-offs before Game 6 on this on our pregame show, and just how important it is for the Regina Pats. You can't lose face-offs clean. It either leads to penalties or scoring opportunities, and that was a great chance for the Broncos.
Well, this line, Godden in Game 5 won 21 of 30 face-offs. 70% is phenomenal. And when you throw Giorgio Estefan in there, and that's Matteo Gennaro, those are three experienced centers who are going to win the majority of faceoffs. Godden, Steenbergen moves it, scores! And just like in Game 5, it is Tyler Steenbergen with the response to an early Regina goal, and we're tied up at 1-1.
Well, Hebig's got his 6th, now Steenbergen's got his 6th as they go toe-to-toe. And this is just a great job of zone entry, led by Alexi Heponiemi, cross for Godden, and you see those three and the chemistry they have. Steenbergen trailing up, he's the real big trigger man, and he lets it go and makes no mistake. Goes for a crash into the boards, tying this one up at 1.
So tied up at 1, even though the Pats are out shooting the Broncos 13-6. That big line for the Broncos, dangerous anytime they're on the ice and they connect. Lead pass for Max Patterson. Out of his reach, down the ice it goes, icing waved off. Patterson rubs out Hyman along the inboards. Cycled in behind the net to the far wing corner, and Puteau gets it out to center, and onto it is Bradley. Poke check by big Savan Kara. Kara in his zone. Looks D-to-D in his end. Taken by Colby Sissons. He'll reach up and go down the left wing and bump it into the Pats zone. The Broncos get a change. Gabriel on the ice for the Pats. Sidesteps one man, comes to center. In the middle of the ice, in over the line. Checked on the play. Broncos turn it the other way. Gennaro over skates. Gets it into the middle of the ice for Mallenstein. Parker Gavlis steps up on him. They battled for it. Gavlis, the 18-year-old rookie from Saskatoon, gets it outside the line. Mallenstein retrieves. Anderson, long shot from center. Glove by Kubik, and he'll end up holding on with Gennaro trolling in the vicinity. And Ryan Kubik, I'm sure we'll hear about that from the official, saying, you know, you had time, you probably could have played that one. They're not afraid to call delay of game penalties on goaltenders if in the minds of the referee he had a chance to drop the puck and play it.
Ryan Kubik, yeah, looking to snuff out of this Broncos momentum. They've got the building back into it. They're flying. Now, do the Pats have an answer? Can they push back now here as we've entered the second half of this opening period?
Mallenstein in now to take the draw instead of Gennaro against Steele. Now Steele is ejected. Not because of anything he did, but because of his teammates infringing upon the face-off area.
Well, this is why you'll get Matt Bradley on this line sometimes too, because he's been very good in the face-off circle in this series, and it adds that threat, although Cameron Hebig, he's no slouch when he takes the draw.
Hebig was a 55% face-off guy with the Saskatoon Blades before he got traded to Regina at the deadline. Backhanded ahead at center, batted out of midair. Picked up by Jared Legion, can't get past the defenseman Anderson. Pats retrieve in neutral ice. Fleury drives it in, it rims up the near side. Anderson up the boards to the line, not out. Hyman gets it towards the goal, knocked aside by Skinner. Hebig cycles behind the net. Right wing side steal. Shot from a sharp angle. Went across the goal mouth, off the corner boards and up the near wall, and all the way back to the Regina line. Aaron Hyman for Brady Puteau. Both players acquired at the deadline. Hyman from Seattle, Puteau from Lethbridge. Pats drive it in, but it's delayed offside as Legion was in too quickly. Broncos back the other way. Heponiemi can't push it past Fleury. Pats at center ice, flat, run into by Steenbergen. Position can't get by the defense, and Steenbergen, the goal scorer for Swift Current, backhands it out to center. Fleury feeds it back in, but that gets up and out of play with 6:35 remaining in the first period.
Well, we appear to have the game we've been waiting for all playoffs. Here's some physical play that we've seen too. Nice job to rub out the man. That's Tyler Steenbergen getting into it at both ends of the ice. He can Get it done in all three phases.
Well, that's the thing. That's what you want to see out of your big players. Your best players have to be your best players, not just offensively, but in all phases. Become leaders. And Steenbergen using his physicality, that's a big deal as far as the Broncos and their team is concerned. Face off in the center ice circle. Controlled by Swift Current. Sissons ahead at center, fighting. Can't push it by Fleury, but his pass doesn't connect in neutral ice. Kara sends it in. Knocked down Mahura. Played all the way down. Icing against Regina. And a little on the scrambly and disorganized side in the last minute and a half or so.
Yeah, things slowing down a little bit. Bryce Platt, one of those guys who's going to be relied upon to bring the energy for the Pats and take the energy out of this building. And sometimes when teams are rolling and you're getting the best out of your team, it's because everybody's embracing their role, and you're going to need that out of guys like Bryce Platt. You don't have to score goals. You got to make sure you do your job. And for him, it's going to be responsible defensively and bring the energy.
Sissons in neutral ice, pass off of the skate of Platt, who's trying to dig in there and get to the puck. Brought it to the side of the goal and knocked off his stick by the big goal stick of Stuart Skinner. Mahura holds the left point. Here's Steele, a shot through traffic, and a save made by Skinner. Play to the line, not out. Fleury bumps it up the right wing boards. Steele can't come up with it behind the net, but he continues on after it to the near boards. Sam Steele at the line. Poke check by Artem Manulin, the big Russian out there on the ice with the long reach, able to do the job on Steele. Mahura tries his luck. His pass off his skates. Steenbergen into the middle, out of the reach of Heponiemi. Steele takes it away from him, trying to duck a check from Gennaro, who gets a piece of him, and that allows Heponiemi to take it. To the far wing, Gennaro leaned into by Steele. Anderson up the boards, and that ended up going into the Swift Current bench and back onto the ice. Play whistle down.
Well, we're getting into that time here, late in the period, and you really want to be good. I really believe in a first five and the last five on the game. You got to start periods well, but you have to finish them well. The good teams do it. Game in, game out, every single period. See if a team has a breakdown in the final 5 minutes. That could be huge. Those ones seem to really cost you in a big way. Now we're at 5:25 to go here in this opening period.
We haven't had a penalty yet in this game, and that favors the Regina Pats because the Swift Current power play has been dynamite so far, working at almost 29% proficiency. Lead feed deflected by big Scott Mahovlich into the Swift Current end. He'll go in on the forecheck, bump and grind along the inboards with Josh Anderson. Bradley back to the line. Hyman, left point, Puto sends it in wide, off the backboards to the right of the goal, trying that bank shot play. The puck may be coming to the front of the net. Mahovlich couldn't get control. Hyman keeps it in, rims it up the boards in behind the net. Estevan gets free of Bradley, who loses his stick. Max Patterson for the Broncos to the line, not out. Hyman keeps it in, again to the end boards. This time it's Bradley against Noah King as they drag it along to the far boards in the Swift Current end at the hash marks. Dug free by Patterson. Anderson plays it behind the net to the near side. Nagel can't get going against Sidaway, but works it loose for Estevan, and now a lead pass at center for Max Patterson. Started to Urin Kootenay, a long shot will be gloved by Ryan Kubik, and he'll hold on.
Well, Ryan Kubik's going to have himself a big game. 8 power play goals in the last 3 games for the Swift Current Broncos. You mentioned how good they've been, and it's that power play is so hard to contain. It really is. Once they get rolling and get opportunities, they're hard to beat. And you want to give your goaltender, you want to give your group as best of an opportunity to win. Much like Game 6, no penalties yet. We didn't see a power play, I believe, until in the second period. The coincidentals at the end of the first, right at the 20-minute mark.
Off the draw, here's Carey, and he shot, hit the goalpost. It came back to the other side. Kubik was stuck on the left-hand side of his net, but Kara couldn't control the bouncing puck and get an opportunity. Bounce to the line and out by the Pats. Sissons in neutral ice. 19-year-old Savan Kara across for Alexi Heponiemi. Finish import for Kara, back for Sissons. Broncos slowly winding it up. Now here comes Heponiemi through center. In over the Pats line. Drops it to the point. Kara to the front of the goal. That's off a skate in front and just wide to the right of Kubik. Now sends in on goal for a sharp backhand shot. Save made Kubik off of Steenbergen right on the doorstep. Mahura couldn't tie up the stick in front of the net. Along the near boards. They battle in there. Heponiemi gets up. Gets the puck back to the line. Sissons Little delay and a shot, and Kubik with a save. Rebound to the near boards. Heponiemi into the middle. Godden doesn't get much on it, thanks to Fleury's stick getting in the way. And now Nick Henry away. Portage La Prairie, Manitoba product. Sends it in from center ice and heads off on a change. Broncos try a lead pass. Steele on the ice. Knock that down. Hebig golfs at it. Gets it in over the Bronco line, but it's cleared out quickly. And the Pats reorganize in neutral ice. Scholler sends it in. Skinner traps it behind the goal and leaves for Colby Sissons. Trying to get one in behind the defense for the speedy Caden Elder. That didn't happen. Gavlis off the glass to center and into the Bronco end. Played ahead. Mallenstein can't control. Gavlis for Steele. He's bumped. Gennaro takes it away. He and Mallenstein, but Hebig with good hustle to come back and strip it away. And now Cam Hebig from behind his net. On his off left wing, cross ice for Steele, trying to control that bouncing puck. Finally does. Gets it into the Bronco right wing corner. Manulin to the far wing as the Pats are completing a line change. Anderson to center, on to Gennaro. Matteo Gennaro, toe drag shot off the tip of the glove of Kubik and just wide to his left. Gabriel in his zone. Now for Hyman. Aaron Hyman, headmans for Scott Mahavlich. Long shot, that was wide, comes up the near boards. Gabriel a shot, sharp angle, hit the side of the net. Now bounced back to the point by Mahavlich. Puteau, Bradley midpoint. Puteau on the left side, shot doesn't get through. Into traffic, played back to the line again. Puteau a shot, that just missed. Off the backboard, sent in front by Gabriel. And nobody there in a burgundy jersey for the Pats. And it's cleared out to center ice. Bradley plays it back into the Bronco end. Both teams changing on the fly. Estefan for the Broncos. Didn't get it in over the Regina blue line. Anderson can't get his first pass past flat. Broncos get a second opportunity and fight and deflect into the Regina end. Cale Fleury bumps below the goal line. It's centered in front, loose puck, a shot. It goes off like the referee and came back to the left of the goal. And Fleury was there to knock that away at the last second, as there was an opportunity there for Tanner Nagel from just below the bottom of the circle. Lasician the other way for the Pats now. Saskatoon product and the son of Curtis Lasician, former NHLer, gets it into the Bronco end, but a quick entry and a quick exit as well. Back the other way, Sissons for Nagel. In behind the net, Fleury is there to pick it off as we're into the final minute of the opening period, tied up at 1-1. They haven't had a tie score at the end of any period in this series. Could we have it here? Or did we just do the old jinx job there?
I think
Murphy's Law. Broncos want to do something about that right now. Heponiemi twisting and turning. Back near the blue line. Still with it, Alexi Heponiemi. Approached by Holmes, who gets a pass knocked off his skates and out to center. And Heponiemi has to chase back to it. For Savan Kara. Achieves the center red line, plays it into the Pats end. Kubik rims it up the near side for Steele. The Pat captain gets it out to center, 15 seconds left to go. In the first period, tied at 1. Bounce pass by the Broncos, picked off Mahura. Josh Mahura to the middle at center. Veering to the right wing, he'll backhand into the Swift Current end. Skinner behind the net, hands it off. Anderson high on the glass to the line. Off Mahura, skate to the middle of the ice. Hyman a shot. That's wide as we come to the end of the opening period of play. First period shots on goal, sponsored by Western Litho Printers, your one-stop print shop for all your signs and printing needs. There you see the shots on goal. Regina 14, Swift Current 10. The Pats open the scoring for the 5th time in 7 games, but it is the Broncos. That man, Tyler Steenbergen, didn't score there, but he got the equalizer, and we're tied at 1-1 through 1 period of game number 7. You're watching the WHL Playoffs on Access.
Welcome back. Time for intermission programming now, as you got a chance to get the opening period and kind of the game we've been waiting for in this series. We're tied at 1 after 20 minutes, and who better to talk to in Game 7 than the captain? It's Glenn Godden of the Swift Current Broncos downstairs. Glenn, we're just saying, this is the game we've finally been waiting for, Game 7. Is that what you're feeling down on the ice after 1?
Yeah. Obviously, by the way, this series has been going. It's been back and forth the whole time, so not surprised it's coming down to 1 game.
We haven't seen both teams at their best at the same time. We're seeing it now. So what is it going to take for you guys to make sure you have enough at the end of this game to move on?
For us, it's just sticking to our game plan. The games that we lost and we didn't play our way, I think we got away from that. Try to do too much individually and when we play as a group, we get success, and it's shown. So for us, that's our mindset.
They came out quickly, Glenn, had a lot of shots on goal early, got the opening goal. How important was it for you guys to get that second goal, obviously?
Yeah, it's huge. Questionable first goal as well. So for us to get that one back was huge. So coming into the second period, we need to use that as momentum.
Well, Glenn, we appreciate your time here after 20 minutes. Wish you all the best here down the stretch.
Thank you.
All right, there's the captain, Glenn Godden. We'll talk to the Pats captain after 40 minutes, because who better to talk to on a big night like this? Well, who better to talk to than somebody who's been following this series as close as you and I have?
Yes.
Ariel is here waiting for us. Ariel Zer from News Talk in Regina. We'll go there, still ahead in the intermission, and we'll take a quick opportunity to look around the rest of the playoff picture as round one is coming to a close. It's been exciting, and lots more ahead here in the WHL on Access. Well, here's a look at the game-tying goal. Heponiemi to Godden, right back to Tyler Steenbergen. He's got his 6th of the playoffs. The Broncos have evened things up with the Regina Pats at 1 through 20 minutes as we welcome in Ariel Zer from 980 CJME in Regina. Ariel, Les was talking about it, and we were talking about it in the first. This is the first time in this series that we've had any period tied at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those it's been one of those series where it's one team gets it or the other team gets it, and it seems like if they have it that night, no one else is going to get it. I mean, we saw it in Game 6, a 7-2 win for the Pats. Before that, a 5-2 win by the Swift Current Broncos. When these two teams get going, one of them gets going, and the other one just seems to stall out. So it's kind of exciting here tonight in Swift Current to be watching a game that feels like an actual game.
Yeah, for now, we've got the game that we've been waiting for. Thought we'd get night in and night out in this series. So you've seen these teams a lot. You've been following the Pats as much as anybody has. Who has an edge then when both teams are at their best?
Well, I mean, I think that if you go by the season series, it's Swift Current that has the best, but Swift Current and the Pats didn't meet up very much after the trade deadline. They met a few weeks after the trade deadline, and the Pats made some big pickups. Cameron Hebig, Libor Hayek, Brady Putos, people who have been making big impacts on this Regina Pats team this season. And so what we're seeing now is the Pats have been able to come together and really gel. So when they played each other at the very end of the season, and remember now, this is the 9th straight game that they've played against each other. The Pats were able to win one of those. And I think that's more of the Pats team that we were expecting to see early on in the season that they didn't quite have. And now you're seeing that this Pats team really has some flow. And maybe if this would have been the Pats team that started the season, we would be having a different look at the standings.
Jesse Gabriel's in for the 2nd time in this series, and he's making a little bit of a presence known.
Jesse Gabriel always makes his presence known. I think he's one of those guys, you know, that when he's out there, you notice him. He's one of those guys when he's off the ice, you notice him as well. He's kind of got that Don Cherry kind of sense of style on game day. He's really he's a personality, but he's also a bit of an agitator, and so the players know when he's there, and he does make a difference. You might not see him on the score sheet night in and night out, but he kind of gets in their head a little bit, and that's the benefit of Jesse Gabriel. I also think part of the reason that he's in the lineup tonight is he is 20 years old, an overager, and this could be his last time playing for the Regina Pats until the Memorial Cup if they lose tonight.
Yeah, big game indeed. You're right. Some people are going to play their last game. It could be Jesse Gabriel's tonight. They're hoping not. Now, I'm not sure where you're watching the game from. There's not a lot of media vantage points in here as there is in Regina. But what's the crowd been like? We hear it loud up here, but being in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm actually in one of the boxes at one of the ends by the nets, but we're enclosed by glass in there, and we can still hear this crowd. You know, the joke that we were making is that in Swift Current, everyone owns 2 cowbells, not just one. It is such a loud, electric atmosphere, and it's loud and electric from the start. And I have to give kudos to Swift Current because I spend a lot of time in the Brand Center barn, and the Brand Center is loud, but they kind of wait for an opportunity. They wait for, you know, that first goal. They wait for that first big hit to kind of get into the game. They kind of sit back on their heels. They want to see how it goes, but Swift Current, these fans are in it from the minute that this game starts, and it's such an exciting thing to see, and it's such a great atmosphere to play hockey. Even Ryan Kubik, whose name is getting chanted in a bit of a mocking tone throughout the game, says it gives him energy to see, you know, to hear the fans chanting his name like that. He kind of feeds off it too.
We know the Pats are going to the Memorial Cup, but there's big expectations here in Swift Current because they've built a team that should contend to get one of those berths course, in the Memorial Cup. Now they're on the brink of elimination. I was talking to some fans who were here from Moose Jaw watching the game, and they're telling me that people are panicking in Moose Jaw because you've got the number 2 team in the country on the brink of elimination as well. So with the Pats and their situation, what sense are you getting from their kind of mood around the team?
I think the Pats are really, you could fall into the trap that there's that they could just rest on their laurels. I mean, they know they're going to be playing in May no matter what, but they don't want to be that team like the Saskatoon Blades were in 2013, where they got bounced in the first round and they have to practice for, 40 days straight and not have it mean anything until the very, very end. So I think you're seeing a very hungry Regina Pats team, one that's not willing to give it up. I asked Matt Bradley what it means to this team not to be bounced in the first round, to be able to win this Game 7, and he simply said it's everything.
Good. Looking forward to the final 40 minutes. I appreciate your time. This has been great.
You're welcome.
Ariel Zer from 980 CJME in Regina. Les Lazaruk had a chance to catch up with the VP of the Western Hockey League, Rick Dirksen, prior to tonight's game. We'll go to that conversation next here in the WHL on Access.
Back in game number 1, we spoke with the commissioner of the Western Hockey League, Ron Robinson. Of course, this being a Game 7, a special game as far as this series is concerned between the Regina Pats and the Swift Current Broncos. I'm joined by the Executive Vice President of the Western Hockey League, Richard Dirksen. And Richard, nice to have you alongside. Game 7, you get to be here for this. These are always fun and exciting times when you get around these two teams, or any two teams playing in a Game 7 situation.
Absolutely. There's nothing like Game 7 in any hockey series, and particularly in our league. When we look at our season going into the playoffs, we anticipated we were going to have some very, very good series in the first round, and that has come to fruition. We have 3 Game 7s, the one here tonight, of course, Moose Jaw tomorrow, and then Victoria with winning this afternoon in Vancouver. Also have a Game 7 tomorrow night. And then, of course, depending what happens with Spokane later on this evening, if they happen to win the game, then we'll have a 4th Game 7. And anytime you get 50% of your series going to a potential Game 7, it's outstanding.
Actually, this is kind of following what happened last year in the Western Hockey League playoffs, where 10 of the 15 series that in all went to a Game 6 or a Game 7, which bodes well for the competitive balance of this league.
Absolutely. And when we look back at the trade deadline, it was really a unique year for us, with as many teams going for it as were. Certainly here in the East Division, we knew that all the clubs were very, very competitive, and that's turned out to be the case. Obviously tonight, Swift Current Regina coming off their 7-game series last year, and then Prince Albert with the great comeback that they've had in their series, going to Game 7 tomorrow night.
Having those sorts of teams going all in like that, Richard, some people say that's great, it's wonderful for the balance of the league. Others concerned about what happens to those teams beyond that. And of course, we think back to what happened with the Saskatoon Blades after the 2013 MasterCard Memorial Cup. But you like to think that your teams are responsible enough in their dealings that they're not going to put themselves into that sort of peril in the future.
Well, we sure hope so. I think this year was what we would classify as the perfect storm. Regina, obviously the host club in the MasterCard Memorial Cup, we knew they were going to make significant trades. Moose Jaw and Swift Current had great teams to start with, and to be competitive, they kind of went back and forth with the trades with each other. And then Prince Albert made some very big trades at the deadline as well to get where they were. So again, it's going to be very interesting for us in the future whether the same price will be given for the players that was given this year. It really got a little outrageous at times. I think it's going to settle down a little bit, and yet a team like Prince George, which really went for it last year, was able to pay dividends by getting a lot of return on their top players this year. So if those teams manage to do that next year, it'll be fine. If not, then there could be some lean years for some teams.
Executive Vice President of the Western Hockey League, Richard Dirksen, joining me in the intermission here. And Richard, I think the other thing we want to take a look at, and you've been involved very closely over the years with officials, and people talk about officiating at this time of the year, who gets to be officials in certain games. What are the criteria? What are the protocols in place by the Western Hockey League to make sure that you have your best officials ready to work each of the series?
Well, it's very easy if you only have one best-of-7 series, because generally your 2 best referees are going to be assigned to it. This is a little bit unique, and yet we were fortunate that the best of 7, the 7th game was in Swift Current tonight and Moose Jaw tomorrow night. So we have the opportunity to use the top 2 officials in both games, which we're planning to do. So we've got Brett Iverson and Chris Kreitch working here tonight. Brett Iverson, of course, worked the World Juniors over Christmas. He's going back to the World Championships again this year, later in May. So the experience that the 2 of them have is critical and very helpful in this kind of situation. We know the building is going to be loud, the fans are going to be wild, and we need guys that have the poise, confidence in their ability to make the correct calls at the correct time, and hopefully it'll be an outstanding game.
But when you have 8 series like you have in the opening round like this, you have to use a lot of your officiating roster, both referees and linesmen, through this first round.
Absolutely, and again, it's a good opportunity. We narrow down, Kevin Minch, our Director of Officiating, handles the actual assignments, but he narrows down roughly in half to start the playoffs. And then that gets the some of the younger up-and-coming referees the ability to get some playoff games, some playoff experience early. Once we get down to the nitty-gritty game 6s and 7s, we're using our veterans. We want to make sure we can give the best performance on the ice that we can.
And it's no different for the National Hockey League or for these young players that aspire to get to the National Hockey League. Same thing, you're evaluating your officials on a game-by-game basis. There are supervisors pretty much at every game.
Exactly. We have a supervisor at every game. A lot of them, like tonight, Tim Tisdale is our supervisor, and I'm here in a support role for him. Likewise, in the Western Conference, we'll be doing the same thing. Again, we just hope that the teams come out, play their best. We hope the officials are at their best, and it's going to be an outstanding atmosphere tonight. Interesting.
You have Tim Tisdale, a former coach, never been a referee, as one of your supervisors. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, Tim Tisdale has done it all. People in Saskatoon will still remember he scored the winning goal in the Memorial Cup way back. But he was a player in our league. He was a coach in our league. He's got a lot of officiating experience. He's done a tremendous job for us as a supervisor. And of course, he's covered a lot of this series along with some of the Prince Albert Moose Jaw series. So he's got a good grasp on what we need for tonight.
Richard, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy this game tonight, and of course tomorrow night's in Moose Jaw.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lester.
All right, Richard Dirksen, the Executive Vice President of the Western Hockey League. You're watching the WHL Playoffs on Access.
Well, we're dead even at 1 after 20 minutes. Take a quick peek before we get set for the start of the period at your out-of-town scoreboard. The lone other game we haven't talked about, and that is Portland and Spokane, has not started. That'll come up a little bit later on. If they need Game 7, that will be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's the last night of the first round. You mentioned we saw that Noah Gregor keeping the series alive for Victoria. They'll play Game 7 tomorrow night in Vancouver. But Game 7 tonight here has 40 minutes left.
They change in, second period upcoming, tied up at 1-1. 7 first periods have been played in this series. The Broncos with 8 goals and the Pats with 7. These have been 6 entirely different games, though, as you take a look at the summary there, with Cam Hebig opening the scoring and Tyler Steenbergen tying it up. 14-10 the shots in favor of Regina, as has been the case for most every period in this series. The Pats have outshot the Broncos for the most part, but the Broncos have been able to stay with them, and with the help of their power play have been able to win 3 games. The Pats with 1-3. Here we are, Game 7, second period underway.
Still no penalties. That's a big one. When will the first call be made tonight?
And what will it take to make a penalty happen? What's going to be the standard for that? As play in the Bronco end, Gennaro to the line, backhands it by Puteau and down the ice. And of course, this has been freshly resurfaced, so that puck slides easily all the way down, and an icing call against the Broncos.
Well, a good first period. We saw the Pats get going early. The Broncos pushed back. They found the equalizer, and they had some momentum as the period drew on. We saw a little pushback from the Pats as well. We'll see how this second period starts if we continue to have that kind of game, but the next goal and the one after are really big.
Absolutely. Assuming we get a next goal. Who knows when it might happen. This one has the feeling to me of going a little ways. That's why I'm glad I brought clothes to change into for tomorrow morning in case I need to catch a hotel here in Swift Current for the night. Mallenstein ahead at center. That doesn't work for Elder. Knocked away from him at neutral ice. Jake Lesician finds it. The third-year Western Hockey Leaguer gets it into the Swift Current end. Rimmed around on the boards. Cale Fleury started his career in Kootenay. Kept it in behind the net. Steele, former first overall pick in the WHL Bantam draft. Here's Fleury. Nice move around Mallenstein to the middle of the ice. Didn't get much on it. And then a shot by Hebig. And it went wide. And then Steele off the backboards from below the goal line. Couldn't bank it in. Mahura at the line. Fleury at midpoint. A shot. That one goes wide. Mahura off the backboards. A shot right on. A save made. And Skinner will cover it up with Steele in there, trying to find a loose puck and shovel it home, but he cannot do so. And play whistle down.
Cale Fleury, great job. Watch this. Nice move right around Beck Ballantyne. And another backhand goes in and really close. Steele puts it off the outside of the post at the end of that play, but that's a great job by Cale Fleury. The Pats have been so good, at least late in the series, of controlling that blue line, going D to D to open things up. As good as the Broncos have been blocking shots and getting in the lanes, Fleury now using his patience to try and open up some space, and it almost worked.
And every once in a while, they'll float a forward back up top, and you have 3-point men, one on both sides on the boards and one in the middle, and it gives them some options up there, and it kind of confuses the defense because you don't normally see that.
Yeah, you don't. And it gives you options, but the Broncos, for the most part, are remaining patient and letting those shots come and just doing their best to get in the lanes.
I mean, I've heard of third forward high, but that's kind of ridiculous.
That is something.
That is something. Dumped down the ice, right in on Kubik. He'll sweep it to the right wing side, and Fleury ahead for Cam Hebig, who has the Regina goal. 20-year-old from Saskatoon, and signed by the Edmonton Oilers this year, lobs it into the Swift Current end. Skinner leaves it aside for Kara. And now Josh Anderson, picking his way slowly, hits the center red line, tosses it into the Pats end. Fleury under check from Godden. Plays it back to the right wing. Mahura has to contend with Heponiemi. They tie up. Blees into the middle of the ice, and Steenbergen with a drive. Missed the net, and it goes off the corner boards all the way down the ice.
He can shoot the puck, and anytime it's on his stick, you got to be careful.
Skinner kept it alive before it got behind the net, but here's Lasician in front. Knocked down. Gabriel wanted to spin and fire and fanned on it. Keeps it alive, takes the shot, hits traffic on the way to the net. Bradley a shot. That's off of stick and will float in towards the goal. Skinner reaches out and grabs and holds on.
Well, a little bit of a dangerous play results in a Regina scoring chance. Gabriel at the end of it then just throws this puck on net, but it was before that when you got the really good chance in front. Gabriel just couldn't find it in time to get the scoring chance from right in the slot.
Jesse Gabriel.
There it is there. If he could have got that shot away, that would have been the great chance. Good job.
Just his second game in this series, and the kind of guy who has an impact. A lot of times you'd like to hope it's positive. Sometimes it's negative if he takes a penalty, but he has the ability to score goals.
He does. He can shoot the puck with the best of them. He's got great hands if he gets in close, and there he just couldn't quite get a stick on the puck. And now we'll get to see, as we've seen, Matt Bradley double shifted up with Hebig and Steele. He gets Cameron Hebig gets a shift down here on the fourth line with Logan Nyack and Scott Mahovlich.
Controlled by the Broncos, though, in their zone. Sissons off the glass to center. Puteau ahead, and Logan Nyhoff, the 16-year-old who got some playoff time last year with the Pats, and again this year. Got it into the Broncos end. The lead pass doesn't work by Tanner Nagel, the former Lethbridge Hurricane. Nyhoff for Bradley. He ran into Manulin and dished the puck off, but grabbed instead by Tanner Nagel. Nagel's pass up the middle comes to the line and out. Bradley will spin back to the near boards, bring it to the middle, backhand, and that'll go up and in out of play. And look out, fans across the way from our broadcast location. That might have cut somebody in the side of the face. You got to be careful. You got to be watching. That puck can come over the glass, and you can get hurt just as easily as anybody.
Big smile. The Bronco fans got a souvenir. This isn't baseball. You don't throw it back if it's the opposition who chips it over the glass, because that doesn't really mean anything. You keep that souvenir, but Logan Nyack getting a shift there, and what a time to make your playoff debut for the series. Then Game 7. That's awesome. He's got to be feeling pretty excited. I imagine if he knew yesterday at the practice, he must have had a tough time sleeping tonight.
Well, Emil Oxenden and Kobe Morriso, both of whom had played in all 6 of the previous games, not in uniform tonight for Regina. So John Paddock, Dave Strush, Brad Haroff making some changes, looking to catch lightning in a bottle with some different players in their lineup, looking to come away with an odd game victory. The Broncos have won games 1, 3, and 5. The Pats have won 2, 4, and 6. Only one game was a 1-goal margin, and really that wasn't much of a 1-goal game. That was only in the last 5 minutes. So basically it's been the six games have been controlled by one team, except they've taken turns doing the controlling.
Yes, they have.
Hence we have Game 7, and it's Heponiemi at center. Checked by Puteau, who dove and got it back to Hebig in the Regina end. From Mahura, who'll start from behind his net. A right wing pass at center, and Steele will deflect it on into the Swift Current end. Skinner up the far boards. Hebig tried to take it, couldn't do so. Mallenstein can't control a skittering puck. And Nick Henry backhands again into the Broncos zone. Skinner for Noah King. He played some big minutes when Archie Manulin was away in games 2, 3, and 4. Carries to center, drives it into the Pats end, rims to the near corner. Puteau tied up with Mallenstein. Puck got away from both of them, and now here's Henry at center. Nick Henry, long shot, fought off by Skinner. The rebound, Kara got to stick to it and batted it away from Lasician. Now it's the Broncos the other way. Mallenstein in front for Sissons, and it went off a skating wide. Mallenstein back near the blue line. His attempt to get it to the front of the goal. Knocked down by 19-year-old Liam Scholler in his 3rd season. Gets it into the Bronco end. The Pats change up. Savan Kara has a little bit of room with which to wheel. And his lead pass at the Regina line is offside. Tanner Nagel in ahead of the play. 4:35 gone in the second period. Tied up at 1-1. The Western Litho Printers shot clock shows that it's 4-1 in favor of Regina so far in the period, 18-11 overall. Savan Kara out on the ice. There's a little discussion here right now, and I'm not sure what this is about. Brett Iverson talking with the linesman.
Well, they're taking a look at this, I think, just to decide where the face-off's going to be. And they're fine with it being just outside the Regina blue line there on the Pats side. Something in this building you don't see in most is the benches on opposite sides of the ice. And that's one of the things. This is one of the character buildings of the Western Hockey League.
Parker Gavlis high on the left wing glass in his zone, down into the Bronco end. Kara, who attended training camp in the NHL with the Edmonton Oilers back last fall, got it out to center. And now it's Giorgio Estefan, formerly the Lethbridge Hurricanes captain. Spins back, gives it to Kara on the right wing. And now back to Colby Sissons. Fanned on a pass and then got to stick to it before Gabriel could approach him. Steele golfs it into the Swift Current end. Cautious would be the word I would use to describe play right now. Neither team being overly physical, neither team being overly aggressive in their forecheck. Just making sure they don't make a mistake. Bradley trying to make his way in. Gets a shot away, a save, made rebound, and it's knocked away at the last second, just ahead of Platt and Mahavlich. Now Manulin, drop feed, Steenbergen shot blocked, and it's chipped away from the slot area. Played high by Platt, and out the center and onto it is Matt Bradley. Bradley again, and he overskated the puck as he was about to take a shot. Cycles it in to the corner. Platt back to the line, knocked away from Fleury by Godden out to center. Jake Lasician goes to his blue line for Mahura, back across, near side. Fleury, lead feed, misses Lasician, picked off Heponiemi for Steenbergen. Stood up at the Pat line, and then Steenbergen ran over the Pat defenseman Mahura.
Steenbergen's really bringing a physical tone to this hockey game.
Well, he ran into Mahura and tapped Josh on the side of the head as if to say, sorry, I didn't mean to run you over quite like that. But here's Steenbergen now. He has their goal tonight. Good back pressure, but then Holmes turns it over. Heponiemi in the slot, a shot, and that glanced off a leg and went wide. Onto it is Godden, back to the line. Sissons a shot, hits the wash coming by him. Lots of legs in the way. Godden trying to step around Mahura. Stops behind the net, feeds Sissons a shot, and Kubik down, hugging the post to his right, absorbs and holds on. Colby Sissons came into tonight's game among the defenseman leaders in shots on goal with 19, but he had only scored once.
Well, here's a look at a little bit of chippiness and some physical play right at center ice. And what do you see? 61 right there. Jesse Gabriel makes an impact, like you said, all the time. And there he gets right into it. And then here's Steenbergen, the hit. I don't know if we can hang on to this and see if he does the little tap on the head here at the end of it. There's a little tap on the shoulder, yeah. Gives him a little, okay, we got you.
Sorry, didn't mean to be like that.
Two guys who were right there at the Hockey Canada camp. Of course, Steenbergen stuck around. Mahura left, came back, then left. A lot of respect, I think, still between these two teams.
What do the kids say today? Sorry, not sorry?
Sorry, not sorry.
Gabriel at center lifts it into the Broncos end. First in after it, Puteau got it to the front of the goal, but there was no burgundy jersey there belonging to the Pats on the doorstep. Back the other way, Elder a shot, turned aside by Kubik. Onto the rebound, Mallenstein bumping with Hyman. Puck cycled in behind the goal. Puteau up the far wing. Kara comes flashing in from off the right point and keeps it alive in the Pat zone. Played ahead, Hebig. Good job, Gabriel will lift the stick and get it free. And away comes Steele with Hebig 2-on-2. Steele on the right wing, trying to get free of Sissons, who does a good job of sticking with him. Kept in deep by Gabriel. Pat's big line will make a change. Away come the Broncos. Elder to center. Lifts it into the Pat's right wing corner, and Gavlis quickly ahead. Scott Mahovlich couldn't chip it past Josh Anderson. Now fighting in the middle. Here's Esteban. Shot scores! Max Patterson puts the Broncos ahead for the first time tonight.
Well, great job coming across the line to pick up this puck by Esteban backwards, and then finds Patterson, and a great shot catching Ryan Kubik, over-committing a little bit to his left, and that opens up a little space to the right, and Kubik just couldn't get that one. Nice shot by Patterson, and he makes no mistake.
Max Patterson's second goal of the playoffs for the 18-year-old out of Kamloops, BC. Esteban with one of the assists. As it's 2-1 Broncos. Played into the Bronco end. Skinner out of the net, rims it to the near side. Lesician comes onto it, tried to feed the point. Andrew Fighton takes it away and backhands it to an open wing, and onto it Noah King. Drives into the Regina end, puck to the near boards. Bradley and Fighton tie up. Henry got it back. Played ahead by the Regina Pats. Nobody in particular there for the pass, and this goes down the ice. And icing against Regina, and the Swift Current fans now feeling pretty good about their situation in Game 7. Starting the Kubik chant.
Yeah, they're going to get in on the Pats goaltender now, and you know the Regina Pats got to find a way to answer back. Again, now that we've seen the Broncos take a step forward, we haven't seen an answer in this series when a team really gets ahead and gets that second goal. We'll see if it happens tonight.
Steenbergen on the left wing. Across, looking for Heponiemi, deflected away from him. Bradley the other way for the Pats. Softly into the right wing corner. Henry played it by Sissons, but Godden is there. And the Bronco captain, who's been so good all season long, got it out to center, but no further. Bradley strides in, stops on the left wing boards, short of the corner, back to the line. Mahura to Bradley. He'll shoot from anywhere, and that one doesn't get to the net. Captain Godden slowly towards the blue line. Drops it back. Manulin for Sissons. Sidesteps Bradley, who's heading off on a change. Now Heponiemi in over the line. Broncos changing, so Heponiemi will reset neutral ice and then drive it from there into the Pats end. Up the far boards it comes. To the line, not out. Savan Kara rims it in behind the net. That'll ride the rail all the way to the near side. Fleury takes a bump there. Pats come away with it, and it's Steele. Into the middle at center and over the line. Holmes can't come up with it. Neither can Steele. Heponiemi turns it the other way. Pats making a change in an odd man rush. Caden Elder trying to feed it across. Great defensive play there by Puteau. Now carrying the slot, a shot, and that hit traffic as the Pats collapse back and make sure that the shot doesn't get through from the danger area. Played into the Pats end by Anderson, not far. Steele will backhand it as we approach the midpoint of period number 2. Swift Current 2, Regina 1. Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. The winner will advance to play the winner of tomorrow night's Game 7 in Moose Jaw as the Warriors take on the Prince Albert Raiders. And how many of you saw that coming? Well, I might have. Here's Anderson to the line, a shot. Blocked by Mahovlich. The Raiders were pretty darn good down the stretch. Even Steven almost as far as record went with the Warriors. And hence you've got yourself a barn burner of a series there, just like this one. In the Pats left wing corner. Swift Current fans excited though, because right now their team is putting some pressure on, but then Fighton's shot goes wide and off the corner boards to center. Pats changing. Sissons ahead. The redirect goes up into the paraphernalia of Puteau, and we'll get a whistle and a timeout. 9:24 remains in the second period. Swift Current goes up 2-1 on Max Patterson's second goal of the playoffs. As you're watching the WHL postseason here on Access.
Regina Pats under siege a little bit. Here's an odd man rush 2-on-1. And Brady Poutot, nice job getting down. His value that he's been adding on the back end for the Regina Pats, you just can't measure how good it's been. And he's picking up his game at the right time.
And then the follow-up there of the Pats collapsing back. They knew they were in trouble. They had to protect the house, as coaches like to call it. And they certainly did so, because Kara had a shot from 25 feet out that, if it gets through, probably is going to be in the net. But they do a great job of falling back and being able to block the shot. Keeps it 2-1, and the Pats now have a shot at maybe coming back and getting the next goal, the tying marker, at some point in this hockey game, preferably before this period is out. They don't want to go to the third down, because every team that has led after 40 minutes has gone on to win. Of course, they've usually had about a 2 or 3 goal lead as well.
Yeah, the Pats definitely want to be the ones who score next. They got to find an answer here, but first they got to find a little momentum back in their stride.
Flipped out to center by Robbie Holmes. Washington Capitals draft pick Beck Malenstein got it into the Regina end, played high on the glass to center, and here comes Hebig. Right-hand shot. He's going to move his way into the middle of the ice. Try a shot, and it may be just a half step too long, as Sissons got a stick in there and deflected it up and out of play.
Yeah, Cameron Hebig, one of those guys who really can flip the script in a hurry and get momentum back on your side. And he's got great patience, just a little bit too much of it, but Stuart Skinner's been hard to beat. Here's a look at Hebig. Watch him. Look at him. He opens up space. His steal really helps create room, taking Caden Elder all the way to the net. That opens up the path, but the defenseman gets the stick in the shooting lane, and it's out of play. But that would have been a great chance for the Pats to get back on the board.
Lysician wins the face-off. Pats trying to get possession, and Henry rims it in behind the net. Lysician trying to chase it down. Ties up with Josh Anderson in the Bronco right wing corner. The big defenseman kicks it free, and Estevan jams it in behind his net to the left wing corner. Kara gets it up the boards and out to center. Parker Gavlis back out on the blue line along with Liam Scholler. Gavlis only played 8 games in the regular season early, but suddenly he's become one of their top 6 in the playoffs and has responded pretty well as he knocks a pass down in neutral ice. Picked up Estevan, gets tripped up. Penalties not being called. The officials are letting them play. Don Cherry would be thrilled with this right about now.
Why not? That was a bit of an incidental stick in the skates. I know it's still, when you trip up a player, incidental or not, doesn't matter. But we still haven't seen a penalty call. I know every time we say it, it's got to come with knocking on wood. Here's a look at it here. Just right in the skate there, enough to trip him up, and Nick Henry gets away with one.
Yeah, he gets away with them because that's one of those, again, I firmly believe that if both skates come up off the ice when you're being tripped, that's a dive. But when you're trying to stay on your feet, you make it one leg come off and you'll fall because you lose your balance because you're trying to balance on one leg. Some guys can actually do that, and all credit to them. They're elite skaters, but when you're trying hard to carry a puck along and you're on one skate, not easy to do.
Very tough.
Mahura ahead. Gabriel touches it on. Here's Matt Bradley in over the line, trying to cut to the middle, trying to get a shot off. Finally does, through all the traffic that he was trying to get through. Puck loose at the left of the Bronco net. Taken there by Gennaro, up the boards, collected by Beck Malenstein. Malenstein to the middle, in over the line, good strong skater. Then he tried to feed it across, and it hit a Pat defender. Out does neutral ice for Jesse Gabriel. 13 goals in 27 games for Gabriel. He handed it off to Scott Mahavlich. His shot went wide. Taken now by King, cut off by Bradley. He'll whip it around on the boards, and that'll ride the dasher board. Holmes onto it. He'll send it back along the rail behind the net to the near wing. Glove down by Hebig, who's back on the ice. Hebig away from Heponiemi, trying to work his way in. And from behind, Heponiemi strips it, takes it away, and starts back out to neutral ice, backhanding into the Regina end. Hebig looked like he had a path to the goal after getting free of Heponiemi, but the Finnish import just kept on working and came back to take it away. Now Bahura gets clipped with a high stick, looks at the referee. No penalty call coming. Play on, boys. Fleury in the left wing corner, turns it over, in front, oh, they score! Captain Glenn Godden makes it 3-1 for Swift Currents, while Mahura got clipped with a high stick at the opposite end. The Pats in their left wing corner, had 3 players on 2 and lost the puck battle. And the centering pass, and Godden makes no mistake from the doorstep.
Nice job by Glenn Godden out in front, finishing this play off. And that's how it goes. The Broncos get away with one at one end and right back, come and score. And that's a big one to make it 3-1.
Glenn Godden's 5th of the series. Dumped down the ice, icing waved off as Fighton has had Henry under check. Nagel now. Tanner Nagel ahead at center. Shower bumped by Fighton. The puck gets through into the Regina end. Parker Gavlis to it. Right wing pass for Nick Henry. Off the boards to center and onto it, Bryce Platt. Platt on his off wing, barging in, backhand sharp shot, angle, save made, rebound, and Lasician poked that one wide, trying to go to the stick side on Skinner. Pats may have to start thinking about activating their defense a little more often than what they'd like right about now. Trailing by 2, even though it's still in the second period, but we're getting into the late stages of the middle frame. 5:41 left as we get a whistle.
Let's take a look at the 2 plays that really led to this goal. First, it's Hebig along the wall. He beats Alexi Heponiemi, but then Heponiemi on the back check. Watch the job he does just a few moments before. He negates a great scoring chance. The Broncos are able to go the other way. And then the second part of this, Josh Mahura right here takes an elbow from Josh Anderson, who has been a big pest for the Broncos. He's done a great job at getting under the skin of the Pats. That time he goes up high and gets away with one on Mahura.
Shot from the line, stick save made by Skinner. And then is Bradley. Right point, Puteau. Puteau sends it in wide of the net off the corner boards. Backhanded to the line by Steenberg and not out. He'll get it again, though, as the attempt by Bradley to get it down low didn't work. Godden now inside the Pats line. Hooks it towards the left wing corner, and Bradley drops it off for Brady Puteau. Puteau to the right wing. Mahovlich wasn't aware of that coming. And Sissons drives it back into the Pats end. Both teams finishing off a change. Aaron Hyman carries to center. Dashes around Gennaro. Drops it off Holmes. Holmes now. Steele enters the zone. Sam Steele stops in the right wing corner. Looks back to the blue line. Holmes across. Left wing side Puteau. Middle of the ice. Holmes' shot off the stick of Elder and wide. Sissons up the right wing boards. To the line, not out. A long shot wide off the backboards. It comes to Steele. Loses it in the skates of the referee. Knocked off the stick of Gennaro. And Steele has it back again. Sam Steele. Anaheim, the first round draft pick. From this point, a shot by Puteau wide. Off the backboards. Driven up around behind the net to the near side, but not out by Sissons. Mahura holds it in. Puteau, toe drag shot blocked. Ricochets to the right point. Mahura will keep it onside. Lifts it high in behind the net. Sissons checked on the play. Here's Steele. Mahura in the slot. Goes wide around Mallenstein. Still moving in. Circles the net. Wrap around. Save made. Rebound. Lucifer. They score! Robbie Holmes with the rebound. Tucks it in. And the Pats have life once again. Down 1 with 4:08 left to go in the second period.
Well, Robbie Holmes comes up with a big one. This is Josh Mahura, though, making this happen. Takes it wide. He's looking for the wraparound. This is how Sam Steele scored. And he puts it off the goaltender, and then Holmes, finding the spot right in front, makes no mistake, beating Stuart Skinner. And the Pats are back on the board, down by 1. We've got the pushback that we hope for. Yes, you can say it with complete certainty. We've got the Game 7 that we wanted.
Absolutely. The Pats had to respond from a 2-goal deficit they have. Now can they get another one?
And 5 goals, 5 on 5.
Yes. As we have an offside call and also a high stick making contact. And even a glove pass thrown in for good measure. And everything on that one. That's why it's whistled down with 3:58 left to go in period number 2.
We need a chance just to catch our breath a little bit. And this has been absolutely quite the roller coaster ride, and we're still not even through 40 minutes of it.
When you haven't done a Game 7 in 9 years like I haven't, who cares, Darren?
Do you remember it?
I'll sleep. Yeah, I remember it, absolutely. Lethbridge Hurricanes. Zach Boychuk had a big game. Juha Metsola in goal for the Canes against Braden Holtby and the Saskatoon Blades at what was then called Credit Union Center. And the Hurricanes won. I believe the final was 5-3 that night, if I'm not mistaken, as a shot by the Broncos off the right wing by Giorgio Estevan, caught and held by Ryan Kubik.
Well,
Don't quote me on the final score.
That's okay. We got the one last year in the Game 7 in Regina between these two teams, and You always love Game 7. No matter what happens, it's always a lot of fun. There's a guy who just loves to step his game up, and he has in this series. Josh Anderson. He's been a real thorn in the side of the Regina Pats here as this series is drawn on, and gets into it. Josh Mahura we saw leading to the other goal, and then Mahura, though, a nice response leading to that 3-2 marker.
Well, the patience he showed, because he could have shot the puck immediately upon getting it in the slot. He ended up taking it wide around a fallen defender, circled the net, tried the wrap around, the rebound came out, and Holmes tucks it in. That's what you get when you have an offensive defenseman like Mahura who can skate like he does, and he's got it again at center ice for Bradley. Hits the line and over, sends it in wide. It'll rim around behind the net to the far corner. Gabriel bumps with Manulin. Puck pops up in the air. Bradley intercepts a pass, and Manulin just gets it out of the zone. Couteau drives it back in. Pats get back on side, but Sissons has time with which to operate from behind his net. 19-year-old or 98-born defenseman. So many guys have early birthdays that they've gone from being 19 to 20 or 18 to 19. You almost have to use the birth years all the time. Lobbed in from center by Manulin, a 98-born. This is a game of 98-borns. The Broncos have 11 of them dressed tonight. The Pats have 10. You think they're built for this season? Yeah. 2:38 left to go in the second period after the icing call against the Pats. Shots on the Western Litho Printers shot clock. 10-5 in favor of Regina in this period. And as you see, overall 24-15. John Paddock at the bench, not happy with the icing call. He'd prefer the faceoff to be in the center ice circle as a missed call, but he has the ear of referee Brett Iverson, and Scott not going to get what he wants out of this.
No, he's not. We haven't seen anything yet. You just wonder when it's going to happen and how big of an impact it might have on this hockey game.
Face off to the right of Kubik, controlled by the Pats. Hammered off the boards to the line. Held in by Anderson, who did that like a goaltender. Kind of flexed the shoulder and kept it onside. But now Cale Fleury follows up and rips it in. It rims around on the boards. Holmes takes a solid shoulder from Savan Kara as he made contact with the puck. Godden to the line, not out. Steele trying to keep it onside. Good work by Anderson to reach in, poke it off his stick, and force the Pats to regroup. Fleury back. Hyman went forward. Steele thought he was there. And now Sam Steele will start from out of his left wing corner. Head man's Holmes. Lifts into the Swift Current end. Pat's going to get his line change in. Platt, Henry, and Lecition come out. Savan Kara. Bounce pass at center by Steenbergen. Onto it. Gotten a shot, and that one just missed. Going high, stick side on Kubik. A shot from the line to the front, and then a backhander save it. Rebound shot. Another huge stop by Kubik from in tight off of Andrew Fighton, who had the second rebound and an opportunity there.
Andrew Fighton really starting to make some noise in this series. He's got his first point of the series, an assist on Max Patterson's goal. And here's a chance in close. First, a diving backhand with one hand on the stick, but it's the rebound as Kubik calmly takes a half a step to his left, a little push to his left. This will be the good look at it. Little push, squares up quickly, gets that butterfly in a nice square spot, and then makes the save, and no rebound on the next opportunity. That's big.
Broncos win the faceoff in the Pat zone. Manulin sends behind the net. Good job by Lecition to intercept before that got cycled around. And Platt cross ice from Mahura on his off wing into the middle. A shot goes wide. Knocked down on the play was Platt by his opposite 26, Fighton. Pats get it down low though again as Fighton trying to find his hockey stick after having lost it in the exchange with Platt. Along the far boards, Estefan gets free of Nick Henry. Stops up behind his net, bounce pass to center. Fighton takes a bump from Couteau and the puck on into the Pats end. Couteau high on the boards to the line and out. Fighton banks it off of Bradley and comes back to the Bronco line as we have a minute left to go in period 2 of game 7. 3-2 Swift Current with the lead. Who will win this East Division series as Bradley knocks down a pass high with a stick above the shoulders and a whistle and a face-off in the Regina end with 50.3 seconds left to go in the second period.
Yeah, we're into that moment again. The final minute face-off so big. The Pats losing that draw in the defensive zone moments ago, and it was Jake Lecition who ended up coming up with a nice play down low to get control of it. These face-offs are big, and Glenn Godden has been really good in this series.
Godden in the circle for the Broncos against Sam Steele. Puck sits there. Who's going to get possession off of this? Mahura bumps with Malenstein, and it's Josh Mahura. So face-off win, Sam Steele. Takes a while sometimes to determine that.
It does, but those battles are so important to keep fighting until you get possession. You can't quit on the play.
Mahura holds the left point. A shot doesn't get to the net. Bradley tries. This one volleyed around. Actually went off a glove and over top of the net. Now Gabriel a shot, and that one goes wide as he threw it across the goal mouth. 20 seconds left in the period. Fleury tries a shot. That's off traffic across the front of the goal mouth. And Kara for Steenbergen. Sidesteps Bradley at center. Dives, can't make contact. Mahura mishandles, and Steenbergen backhands it deep and heads off as we're into the final 10 seconds. Slap pass to center, goes down the ice, wide of the Bronco goal, and we'll have one last face-off in the Regina end with 3.1 seconds left to go in the period.
Well, this is one of those moments, not just with 3.1 seconds left, but we've gone nearly 40 minutes without a penalty in this hockey game. And for the officials, you know, it's big for them. They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to call a penalty that leads to a big momentum swing in a hockey game. They don't want to be a factor. So from their eyes, might they be looking for something automatic, something like a puck over glass or something to get that first call out of the way and get the comfort of making that call. The fans, as you know, they're going to go nuts at every opportunity.
They certainly will. They're going nuts now. Their team, the Swift Current Broncos, has a lead through 40 minutes of play here in Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal series. They look at your shots on goal in the second period. 10-7 in favor of the Pats. 24-17 overall in the hockey game for Regina. Second period shots on goal are sponsored by Western Litho Printers, your one-stop print shop for all your signs and printing needs. Look at the Pat fans celebrating the goal by Robbie Holmes that made it a one-goal game late in the second period. You're watching the WHL Playoffs on Access.
Credit Union iPlex is the site for Game 7, and we got a one-goal game heading to the third period here after 40 minutes, and it's the Pats captain Sam Steele joining us here down at ice level. Sam, how big was that to get the 3-2 goal to get some life back in your bench?
Yeah, it was a big goal. We needed that one going into the third, so it's a close game here, and yeah, we got to give it all we got here.
Sam, what do you have to do in the third period? Because they're checking you pretty tightly. How are you going to find that space and time that you need in order to get that tying goal?
I think we just got to keep chipping away. We've been getting opportunities. We're out shooting them and everything, so just we got to give it all we got. We're fighting for our lives here.
Sam, you were big in the Game 7 last year against the Broncos with a couple of goals. What do you say to your group now with 20 minutes left?
There's a lot of hockey left. Yeah, we're in this game. It's anybody's game right now, and yeah, it's a big third.
Appreciate this, Sam. Good luck in the third period.
Thank you.
All right, there's Sam Steele, the Pats captain, joining us here through 40 minutes. The voice of the Broncos, Sean Mullen, will make an appearance here in the second intermission. We'll get his thoughts. Are the Broncos on to the next round? They are close. They've got a 3-2 lead here through 40 minutes, but still lots left to play and lots to decide in Game 7 on the WHL on Access. Tense times here in Swift Current. Game 7. Why not? 3-2, the Broncos lead the Regina Pats. The Pats got that second goal to make it this tense moment that we have after 40 minutes. Sean Mullen, the voice of the Swift Current Broncos, we've been talking about this a lot, that we haven't seen both teams at their best. I think that last Pats pushback and the goal shows that we've got the game we've been waiting for.
Well, I think the indication of that came in the first period when Regina seemed to have the better jump, as they have to start the game in a lot of this series. How Swift Current responded was so vital, and that goal from Tyler Steenbergen, the play of the top line in particular in the first period, they had 7 of Swift Current's 10 shots. That really got the Broncos back into it, and when we have a 1-1 tie after one, we hadn't had that all series. So that told the story that this was going to be a different game. So far, they haven't had any penalty calls. That's another reason why this has been a different game. It's been back and forth. The momentum has been changing. This is what we've been expecting all series long from these two teams, and it's great to finally have it, although the tension is high in this building. I know Bronco fans would really prefer it would be a 3 or 4 or 5-1 instead of 3-2.
Yeah, of course, but as a hockey fan and for the viewers, the listeners, you're on the edge of your seat, no doubt, and something we haven't seen in the last 3 games, both goaltenders on top of their games.
No question. And, I really never felt like the goaltenders were at fault in any of the games where one team or another really took over. I felt like, the team that was attacking got sort of smelt blood in the water and were getting pucks and bodies to the net, and B, the team that was having a hard time in whatever game it was didn't defend very well. In Games 4 and Game 6, the Broncos didn't defend their house very well. In Game 5, the Pats didn't defend their house very well, took too many penalties. I never felt like the goaltenders were really at fault in this series, but both have been very strong so far today, and we'll see who comes up big as the tension rises in the third period. I think the next goal is always key in a hockey game. It was so key when it was 3-1, now even more important, 3-2 going into the third period.
Yeah, very big, and of course, not a lot of hockey left, just 20 minutes. Now, we're seeing a pretty good game from Andrew Fighton, good game. Max Patterson getting on the board, but the Broncos are going because the big three are going.
Yes, and 5-on-5 they're going. Swift Current had only scored 7 5-on-5 goals in this series compared to 11 on the power play. They needed their even strength play to step up here today because penalties aren't being called. The whistles have been put away. This is going to be decided 5-on-5, it looks like, in this series tonight. And the big line has stepped up. They've been forechecking hard. The thing that they do better than anyone else in the Western Hockey League when they're on their game is puck retrieval. They go after that puck even when it starts to turn the other way. You saw an example of it from Heponiemi when Sam Steele looked like he'd have a great scoring chance inside Bronco territory. He swooped in, took it away, and turned it the other way. That line is on their game, and when they're playing that type of hockey, the Broncos are really tough to beat. And I don't know if any other Bronco and Pat fans watching today have a little bit of a flashback from this game, but when the Broncos went up 3-1, I was thinking back to Game 6 last season in the second round, and then Regina scored to make it 3-2, and those flashbacks really started to come. But Swift Current was able to hold them off and now have a lead going into the third.
Yeah, that's big. The Pats got those 2 goals late in that period that really shifted the complete momentum of that game and the series. Really, it helped the Pats move on to a big Game 7 win a year ago. Pats fans, of course, getting excited after the Robbie Holmes goal. We get another look at that there, but we've got ourselves a pretty good game. One thing the Pats have done well, I thought, is the blue line. When they're activating their defense, Brady Puto especially at the blue line, they can be effective, and they're effective moving it D to D.
Well, and how about Brady Puto, a guy that was almost a throw-in for Regina at the trade deadline? You get a player for a 7th-round draft pick from Lethbridge who no one was talking about, and he had 3 assists in Game 6. He's playing huge minutes in Game 7. What a nice addition to the depth of the Pats. That's a shrewd move for John Paddock to get him at that kind of a price at a time when players like Puto were going for, say, Schulthouse, who went to Moose Jaw for 2 second-round picks at a player. And they get Puto for a 7th, and he's playing these kinds of minutes. That's a big addition for Regina.
Speaking of minutes, how have you seen the progression of Artem Manulin coming back into the Bronco lineup?
They're clearly relying on him more right now, and we're seeing an Artem Manulin who can play a strong defensive game, but is not engaging as much offensively. I don't know if he trusts himself as much to do that as he would have at other times in this series. That's one area. You talked about defense moving the puck, where Regina does have an edge right now because Manulin isn't doing that quite as much as he normally would. The Broncos really have one main puck mover in Colby Sissons out there, and Regina's got a few more guys who can do that, although Libor Hayek being out took one weapon out of their quiver.
Yeah, it does, no doubt. So, what is going to be the breaking point in the third period? What needs to happen? What will determine this game? Is it going to be a bounce? Are we going to see a penalty call in this hockey game? Because there's been a couple maybe that could have been called on either side.
Yeah, well, it's like overtime. I think back to the triple overtime game between these two teams again last season in the second round when you weren't going to call a penalty unless there was a very obvious infraction, and that one came when Connor Hobbs threw himself when he broke his stick to trip up Cole Gable, forced a power play the Broncos were able to score on to win the game in triple OT. If something like that happens, a too many men, a high stick, a delay of game, or just an obvious hit you have to call, then a team goes to a power play, that could completely change the momentum of this game. But really we're at a point in a 1-goal game in a Game 7 going into the third period where almost anything could change the momentum. So asking for one specific turning point that could change things is tough because it could be 100 different things that could happen with two teams so evenly matched.
All right, before I let you go, I'll get your thoughts on tomorrow night's Game 7. Moose Jaw and Prince Albert, they're getting pretty nervous just down the road.
You bet. And first of all, I'll say I'm remarkably impressed by what Prince Albert's been able to do. And a lot of people thought the Raiders would really test Moose Jaw, but when the Raiders had a real chance to win all 4 of the first 4 games and only got 3 of them, lost 2 in overtime, had 1 taken away in Game 4 on a goaltender interference penalty, they had every excuse to just lay down and say, that just didn't happen for us. And they came back to Moose Jaw in Game 5 and won that 5-1. That's remarkable. So that team has really shown their mettle. But in the end, when these things come down to a Game 7 and there's a talent discrepancy, usually the better team wins the Game 7. So that's my expectation. But that said, my expectation was it wouldn't get to 7 after what happened in the first 4 games. I'm so impressed by the tenacity of the Prince Albert Raiders, and I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
All right. Well, looking forward to that one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have a great call in the third period. It should be exciting.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great job covering this series. It's been great for the province.
There's Sean Mullen. It's a 1-goal game after 40 minutes. We are exactly 1 year from the record 5 overtime game between Everett and Victoria. Could we be headed for overtime tonight for the first time in the series? We'll find out in the final 20 minutes here in the WHL on Access. Well, we go back to Spokane and Portland. They're playing in Game 6 tonight.
And Spokane trying to stave off elimination again. Portland can finish off the series, but Spokane at home. Jake McGrew opened the scoring there, and now Eli Zumak with the deflection of a point shot there to make it 2-0 for the Chiefs. That is through 1 period of play at the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena. And again, Portland up 3-2. That series could be over tonight, but the Winterhawks have to have a comeback in order to make that happen.
And they're going to have Game 7 tomorrow night on the final night of the opening round between Victoria and Vancouver, because Noah Gregor was the hero tonight.
Yeah, Noah Gregor.
Today.
Yeah, today, this afternoon. And why was it a Monday afternoon game? Well, because the game tomorrow night in Victoria, you have to go from Vancouver to Victoria, and you have to take a ferry. Well, you got to make sure you catch the ferries. You want to do that tonight and get back across to the island, because you don't want to do it tomorrow in case there's bad weather. But here we take a look at some highlights from this afternoon's game. Game 6, Victoria and Vancouver at the Langley Event Center, I should say, and it's the Giants who open the scoring. But Royals come back. Dante Hanoun off a skating in, tied it up, and then the Royals go up 2-1, courtesy of Phillips, who scored twice, made it 3-1, but the Giants battle back, make it a 3-2 game, and then tie it up at 3-3, forcing the overtime, and here's the winner. Bang! Off the stick of Noah Gregor, 7:06 into the overtime. Victoria forces a Game 7, and they go home for it tomorrow at Save-On Food Center in Victoria, BC.
The Giants outshot the Royals 43-20 in the hockey game, only to lose. They also went 0 for 5 on the power play, so opportunity is left on the table to close that one out, and that's playing with fire.
It is playing with fire. It's not unusual to see teams get outshot in the playoffs and win because you ride a hot goaltender. And Griffin Outhouse is one of the best in the Western Hockey League, and as a result, that allows Victoria a chance to maybe win and advance to the next round against the Tri-City Americans, who swept that 4-game series from Kelowna and are waiting in the semifinal round.
If Portland and Spokane need a Game 7, that will also be tomorrow night, along with Prince Albert and Moose Jaw tomorrow night as well at Mosaic Place, just up the road. And how about the Wheat Kings and the Hurricanes? They're getting set for their second round series too.
They will start up Friday in Lethbridge. All right. Ready to go for the third period here.
Well, and lots to be decided. That big goal by the Pats, and Sean Mullen, I don't know if you were eavesdropping at all in our conversation, but he kind of noted last year's playoffs. If you remember that big Game 6 here, when the Broncos went up 3-1, but the Pats got 2 late goals at the end of the period to tie the hockey game, setting up a Pats win, leading to a big Game 7 victory. They didn't get the tying goal before the end of the period, but if they get it, we are in for quite a finish.
3-2 Broncos lead Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. They'll be the first team to advance in their part of the bracket. The other one will be tomorrow night in Moose Jaw. The Warriors at home to Prince Albert in a Game 7. Third period underway here. Sissons ahead, deflected by Malenstein into the Pats end. Brady Puteau back to it. Puteau acquired for a draft pick at the trade deadline. That's a draft pick you gladly give up when you have a guy like Puteau who can play defensively and be a calming influence back there. Manulin from center slaps it back into the Regina end. Puteau with room now as the Broncos fall back into neutral ice. Clog it up. Right wing Lecition trying to drag it into the middle, can't get a shot away. Flat, spins, fires, and that one's high and wide. Lecition on the left wing board, sends it to the net. Fought off by Skinner with the glove. And Manulin high on the glass to neutral ice. Mahura at his line. For Cale Fleury. To the left wing. Jumps in over the line for Hebig. For Holmes a shot. That just missed high to the glove side. Fleury at the right point holds it in. Here's Holmes a shot. That one goes wide. Comes up the left wing boards. Mahura in from the line. Can't control it. And Glenn Godden away. In over the line, gets a return pass, and a good job by Holmes to get a stick in front of that backhand attempt by the captain, deflected up and out of play.
Here's a look at the Pats back at home. Goal 1, high glove side. Libor Hayek, high glove side on Stuart Skinner. And here's the other one, Nick Henry, across, high glove side by Jake Lecition. The scouting report has been goal high to the glove side. Robbie Holmes tried it just a minute ago from a far shot, missed the net, but the Pats got to get back to trying to test Stuart Skinner high in that corner on the glove side. They want to try and beat him here in the third period.
Controlled by the Pats in their zone. Mahura, from a Red Deer Rebel before he was acquired at the trade deadline last season, got it to Holmes, gets it into the Swift Current end. Anderson's pass to the line, not out. Fleury kept it in. Mahura steps up, cycles behind the net for Steele. Takes the contact from Anderson, tried to center, that was deflected away from Hebig. Cam Hebig along the boards, battling with Steenbergen. Wins that, gets it into the left wing corner. Steele being leaned into, drops it off Hebig. Wants to go to the line, Mahura. Along the blue line to the right point. Up high is Gabriel, a shot, that deflected in front and went high over top of the net. Mahura in from the line. Knocked away from Hebig, Mahura again. Tried to feed it in front, that's intercepted. Sent around on the boards to the far wing. Golfed that Heponiemi once and twice. And now Jesse Gabriel in neutral ice will send it into the Bronco end and start a change for Regina. Mahavlich, Bradley come out. Lead pass to Patterson, who has a goal tonight for Swift Current. It was the one that put them ahead for the first time in the hockey game. Knocked off his stick but held in at the point. Backhanded forward off a glove. That's allowed because it stayed in the defensive zone. Glove passes are allowed like that. Broncos get it back into the Regina end. Kubik swings it up the right wing boards. And Mahavlich forward for Bradley. Stick lifted from behind by Giorgio Estevan. Estevan in over the line. Tries a shot. That went off a stick and wide. Patterson on the right wing. Cycles behind the net. Estevan on his backhand. Brings it to the near side. Back to the blue line, Manulin. Across Sissons. Takes a shot. Now goes wide. Tries the shot. Blocked by Puteau. Puteau high on the glass to the line. Sissons keeps it in. His shot is blocked by Hyman. That's Smarts. But it kept it away from the net, and Mahavlich got it to center. Lifted ahead by Heponiemi into the Regina end. Past the 3-minute mark of the third period. 3-2. Now here's Henry trying to break in, and Anderson knocked it off a stick at the last minute. Henry back to the line. Mahura to the end boards. Savan Terra, big tough guy, hard to bring down, and just as you say that, down he goes under checking. Pats get it back to the line. Mahura for Lecition, who was down on the ice. This is cleared all the way down by the Broncos, and icing against Swift Current.
Good start to this period by the Regina Pats, 3.5 minutes in, and putting pressure right back on that guy, Glenn Godden and the Broncos, and their top line has to be good. Henry, almost an opportunity here as he poked it through, but a great job defensively by Josh Anderson to get a stick back before Henry could get the backhand away.
Pats line up Josh Mahura tight to the face-off circle. Only Fleury back at the blue line. Hebig wins it back to Fleury. Cale Fleury on the left wing for Hebig. Tried a shot block. Hebig again on the left wing near the blue line. Sends it all the way across. Right wing Mahura ducks into the middle. A shot off a skate. Comes to the near wing. Played high on the glass and down the ice. Wide of the Pats goal. Icing again against the Broncos.
Manny Vivros having the conversation right now with Jamie Heward and Ryan Smith. Do you take your time out here? It's back-to-back icings. It's a tired unit, but you've got veterans on the ice, and that's the reason why maybe you have a little bit more trust, because when they're tired, as opposed to younger players, they make better decisions because they've been around the game a little bit longer.
Well, they're going to get the timeout that they wanted because the Pats were trying to change up a defenseman, and referee Chris Kreitz wouldn't let it happen. So he sends Mahura back out to the ice. Scholler comes back to the bench. That Bronco top line gets a few extra seconds. They win a draw, rim it around, and they're probably going to survive this. As now it's Heponiemi to center. and he'll head off on a change as he sends it on into the Pats' end. 19-year-old Cale Fleury for Cam Hebig. Hebig to center, drives it off the sideboards into the Bronco end. Skinner behind the net, dropped it off. Puck rimmed to the far side and skipped away from Steele. Mallenstein to neutral ice. Elder couldn't control. It's batted away a couple of times. A delayed offside against Swift Current as the puck into the Regina zone. Scholler for Aaron Hyman. Hyman ahead, deflected by Steele into the Bronco end. Puck hit the side of the net to the left of Skinner. Sat there. Broncos clear. Gabriel sends it in over the line. Pats are offside, but now here come the Broncos taking that off. Mallenstein moving in, a shot, and Kubik takes it off the right shoulder, has it roll down into the glove, and he'll hold on.
Yeah, Ryan Kubik tested a little bit here and makes just a good stop. And it's important for him not to allow rebounds, as Bradley couldn't knock that puck down at center. It allows Beck Mallenstein to walk in. A shot gets through Brady Poutot, who was trying to go down and get in front of it between him and Ryan Kubik. Brady Poutot been so good here so far in the last couple anyway for the Regina Pats. And as Sean Mullen pointed out, he's acquired for really a throwaway pick. Nobody's talking about him as being a defenseman who might be acquired or a real asset. And sure enough, he's really stepped his game up and been much more than the Pats could have hoped for.
Kubik behind the net, stops the shoot in, sets it up for Poutot. Gabriel touches it to Bradley ahead on the left wing, and Mahavlich gets it into the Bronco end. The Pats change up. Lead pass at center for Andrew Fight. Stepped into by Hyman, taken off the puck. Mahavlich got it back, and Mahura ahead for Lesishin on the left wing. He tried a shot, but that glances off the ankle of Manulin, who flexes his right skate as if to say, yeah, that one hurt a little. But the puck went up and out of play. So you take the little pain for the fact that there wasn't a shot on net that could have resulted in maybe something good happening for Regina.
Haven't seen a lot of number 19 so far in this game. There's Manulin, who we've seen be put more and more into this game. He's drawn more minutes as his last 3 appearances have drawn on. He only played about 15 minutes coming back into the lineup in game 5. And he's a big asset. He's played more in the defensive zone we've seen than seeing him have an impact offensively.
Good job by the Broncos to tie up 2 players down low. Played out to neutral ice. Platt just outside the Bronco line, tried to shoot it in. It went off Heppo Niemi's stick, and the face-off will be in the Swift Current end as a result.
Well, and that's okay. The Pats are okay with these offensive zone draws. There's Manulin, who's been playing a lot in the defensive zone, like we mentioned. And he's an offensive player, but he can play in all 3 zones. He can play on the penalty kill and on the power play. They've been keeping him mostly in the defensive zone, and he's been good, logging big minutes there. And he's a guy who can log 25 minutes a night, and they're going to need him to get back to that kind of standard here, especially if the Broncos are going to move on in the playoffs.
Scramble face-off here, Steele in front, and a blocker or a paddle save made by Skinner. The rebound squirted out front, but there was no traffic there. The Broncos ice it, but had that puck gotten through to the back door on Skinner, there was traffic there at the left post, ready to bang it in. As we see the replay, yeah, there's the big goal stick. Hebig was right there waiting for the pass. Holmes was in the vicinity as well. But the goaltender has to help himself out sometimes.
He does. That's something Sam Steele does well. Sometimes, just understanding when you have an opportunity. Let's just throw this at the net and see what can happen. You've got somebody there in the back door, and if not, that puck still almost bounced out. If there's a Pat waiting, could put it home. But right now they're having a little bit of a discussion on this icing.
This is quite the icing discussion.
Fans didn't like it in the building, so they're talking about it. I'm not 100% sure what the discussion's on. They're going to put it at center ice. So here's a look right here. Backhanded, and they're going to, they think that the Pat got a stick on it.
I think he did.
And they're going to say he did. But it still went all the way for icing. I thought it would have slowed it down a little more if he did get the stick on it, but they drop it in at center anyway.
Off the face-off at center, Mallenstein pushes it into the Pats end. Bahura along the end boards, tying up with overage forward Matteo Gennaro. 4-player scrum along the end boards in the Pats end. Now it's shot up the far boards, and Sissons will play it right back there. Mallenstein twisting and turning, trying to get free of Fleury. Pick play thrown out there by Gennaro, but Mallenstein thought he would get Gennaro the puck, and it didn't work. And Holmes from center backhands into the Swift Current end. Skinner turned it over behind the net. It comes to the line. Mahura cocked the stick as if to shoot and didn't. Hyman fans on his pass. And Elder now for the Broncos. Caden Elder sends it in deep. Hyman back to it along the end boards. Shoveled it away from Mallenstein. Past Mahura. Gabriel will get it back to the defenseman. And Josh Mahura, a 71-point guy in the regular season, got it ahead, but the Pats can't make a clean reception of the pass. Hyman sends it into the Bronco end. Rimmed up the near side, high on the glass. And now taken by Steenbergen. Poke check by Puteau. Steenbergen gets it back. Feathering it through for Glenn Godden. Godden approached there along the near boards by Puteau. Godden overcomes along the goal line. Feeds the blue line. Anderson a shot. Blocked by Bradley, and it ricochets out to center. Josh Anderson feeds it back into the Pats end. Broncos starting a change. Puteau for Aaron Hyman. Back to Brady Puteau in his right wing circle. Lead pass at center. Bradley on the Broncos side of center deflects it down into the Swift Current end. Anderson sends away Estefan and head mans for Max Patterson. Off the glass and deep gives chase. Broncos finish a change. Platt along the near boards. Knocked it out of midair. Referee says no problem. That was fine. Manulin intercepts, gets it to the line, not out. Cale Fleury keeps it in. Andrew Fighton gets it out to center. And now it's Estefan. In over the line. Giorgio Estefan for Andrew Fighton. Intercept. Save made by Kubik from right on the doorstep. And he'll cover up on the rebound. A huge stop for the Regina netminder after the turnover in neutral ice by the Pats.
The Broncos only have 19 shots on goal, but they've had some good ones. And here's probably their best opportunity that hasn't resulted in a goal. A nice feed by Estevan, and Fighton, who has seen himself elevate his play here tonight, gets a great deflection in, but Ryan Kubik, great job following it, and then grabs the loose puck in the crease and hangs on. Nice job by Giorgio Estevan to feed that puck in, but Ryan Kubik is there.
Andrew Fighton coming over from the Calgary Hitmen at the trade deadline. A third line type of forward. Good forechecker, strong, physical type of player. Will get in your face.
Well, he had a 2-game suspension for the hit from behind on Libor Hayek on the second last game of the regular season. He can be a thorn in your side, bring that edge, and now he's finding a little bit of an offensive touch here in Game 7.
Even though he's still looking for his first point. There's a shot by Kara, and a good opportunity there. Estefan had it go off of his skates and wide. He got an assist tonight.
Yes, he was given an assist on the second Bronco goal.
Dumped down and on Stuart Skinner, and well, we haven't had this in quite a while. A little bit of a testosterone leak.
Well, and might you see something like this happen, and you know, the two officials, Chris Krejci, Brett Iverson, call coincidental penalties just to get the first calls out of the way here in this third period. But that's not really a factor in the game. Here's a chance off a skate right through.
Can you imagine 4-on-4?
But I mean, yeah, 4-on-4 would be great. I mean, a factor as far as them needing to get a call out of the way. And, you know, we say, well, they got to get one out of the way. They got to get into this game. But do they really?
No.
But any penalty call like that, a 4-on-4, you're right, that might be a factor in the hockey game.
A little bit more open ice, lots of skill on both these teams. One of them gets the goal that either ties it up or gives the Broncos a 2-goal lead, and you have yourself a big turn of events in this game. But right now it's 5 skaters aside, off of Elder at center. Mahura bringing it forward. And now we're going to get our first penalty of the hockey game. A trip in neutral ice on Josh Mahura. And the call made. Both referees had their hands up, and Beck Mallenstein heads off. 8:37 into the third period for the first penalty call of Game 7.
Okay, we can play that one more time. Here's why. Watch all the maroon sweaters moving up the ice. Well, we'll have to see the first look at it again. But there's 1, 2, 3 maroon sweaters up the ice. It gets called because that's going to be an odd man situation and a good scoring chance for the Pats. Call made.
Mahura on the power play. Regina 0 for 6 on the power play that they didn't really need to have working in Game 6. But they need it now. Bradley, left wing circle Hebig. Brings it back up top. Right wing circle Steele. Into the middle looking for Hebig. Good job Elder to knock that down. Steele gets it back though. Mahura at the half wall. Steele, midpoint Hebig. Cam Hebig to Steele in the right wing circle. Tries a shot. Save made Skinner. Rebound into the right wing corner. Mahura away from it. Sissons. Henry working it free. Mahura for Steele. Across Bradley. Middle of the ice, Hebig. Steele, the one-timer, and a block there by Manulin. Steele gets it back to the blue line for Hebig. Back to Mahura, who's back up top. In the middle for Hebig. Left wing circle, Bradley, a shot, save made, Skinner, rebound, sits loose there, and taken away by Caden Elder. Elder skates it to the far boards, kicks it forward and gets it down the ice. Meanwhile, the fans are hollering about a tie-up between Sissons and Nick Henry, thinking there should be a penalty call against the Pats. 45 seconds left to go in the Regina power play as they trail 3-2 in the third period of Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. And a puck on a simultaneous touch goes up and out of play.
Well, the Pats trying to find the equalizer here. They do a good job moving the puck around, but you see Bradley is the trigger man now, trying to find room on the short side. It's not there, and good support on the puck by the Broncos to get that puck out of harm's way, and then just a little battle. That's what the fans were looking for, the penalty call there. A slash for Sam Steele. Not going to get it. That stuff hasn't been called yet. It's telling me that it's got to lead to a scoring opportunity to get called at this point of the game. It's got to impact the game. Much like the penalty against Beck Malmstein that would have led to a 3-on-2 or an odd man rush for the Pats. It's got to lead to something that's going to impact the game.
Pats power play on the series coming into this one. 5 for 28, 17.9% proficiency. They'd like to up that here now as Steele on the left wing. Into the circle, feeds midpoint Mahura. Right wing circle, Gabriel a shot. That's blocked by Savan Kara. Gabriel with it again. He'll roll it back to the line gently, and Mahura hustles over to keep it alive. Up the boards and in behind the net. Holmes overskates, and Anderson gets to it and clears it down the ice. That pretty much runs out the power play time. In fact, Malmstein back on the ice now. Pats with 4 shots on goal on that power play, but do not connect. And it's still 3-2 Swift Current as the 2,890 predominantly Bronco fans get excited. Now Steenbergen along the goal line, plays to Gennaro, back for Steenbergen on the right wing. Tyler Steenbergen, the guy who scored the winning goal for Canada at the World Junior Championships in Buffalo this year. Maintaining possession, dragging time off the clock. Shot from the line by Sissons, deflected in front, up and out of play, and we're going to go to a timeout. 8:51 remains in regulation time here at the Innovation Credit Union Idplex. Swift Current Broncos 3, Regina Pats 2 in Game 7 as you're watching the WHL Playoffs on Access.
Well, they seem pretty loose. The young ones, anyway. I think everybody else is pretty tense right now. And there's Manny Viveros. And this is a great coaching move by him. You kill off the penalty. What do? Come right back to Godden, Heponiemi, and Steele. Take that momentum. Leads to maybe a scoring opportunity or two. The Broncos have got some big momentum off that penalty kill after the Pats looking to tie it. They don't capitalize on their first power play of the game.
But the young ones, what, me worry? I've had popcorn and all kinds of sugar. I'm wired and ready to go. Let's dance.
We could go all night. Let's do it, and why not?
Oh my. Face off in the Pats end to the right of Ryan Kubik. Lasician wins the draw from Estefan. Collected by Aaron Hyman and played behind the net. Puteau ahead on the right wing for Nick Henry. For Lasician in the middle at center. In over the blue line on the right wing. A shot missed the net. Rebound up the near boards. Hyman keeps it alive. Gets it towards the corner. Holmes cycles. Tried to get it to Lasician. Holmes now getting it to the front of the goal. That's knocked away. Nick Henry onto it. Puteau to the end boards. That'll skip away in behind the net. And Savan Kara will find an opening and clear it down the ice. 5 feet wide of the Pats net to the right of Ryan Kubik. And icing the call against Swift Current. The Broncos will try and do that, but they're going to try and hit the net when they dump it all the way down so as to keep play alive while getting the pressure off.
Well, they've been
because
good.
The Pats are coming.
They've been good in the face-off circle, in their own zone, and they've got a veteran group, and they're not scared of icing the puck right now. Of course, you want to get it on goal and negate it if you can, but Pats right now, good spot because you can keep rolling and get these guys on the ice, Steele and Hebig.
But there's Estefan winning the draw from Steele. The puck rimmed around behind the net and up the far boards, down into the Pats end. Not enough juice for icing. Flurry, cross ice, Steele in over the Swift Current line. Feathered through for Hebig. That didn't make its mark. Off the side of the net. And now it's the Broncos back the other way, and here's Caden Elder racing in a shot. and a blocker save made by Kubik. Rebound to the far boards. Mallenstein cycles into the corner. Steele takes it away from Elder. Steele spins away from Gennaro. And Sam Steele, left wing pass out of the reach of Hebig. This will go down the ice, and this time it's an icing call against Regina with 7:43 remaining in regulation time, and the Broncos up 1.
Well, let's take a look at the offensive zone. Here's Sam Steele. Watch him in the... Where is he? He's got the puck there, moves to the middle of the ice, and it's a little slash, and then takes a little punch to the mouth from Colby Sissons. So the gamesmanship continues as Sissons, a little shot there on Sam Steele. Now the Pats, that was missed call. I mean, you've seen a few of this. Again, it's got to lead to or result in a scoring chance, I believe, right now, if it's going to be called. It's got to have an impact on the game. That doesn't, but the Pats can't retaliate after seeing that.
No, exactly. Mahura for Fleury in his zone. Snaps it cross ice. Matt Bradley away on his off wing. Tees up a slap shot and a blocker save made by Stuart Skinner. Bradley cycles. That jumps away from Hebig behind the net. Sissons to the line. Held in by Hyman. Gobbled up by Godden along the left wing boards. Finds Steenbergen alone in the middle of the ice, and he'll carry. Tyler Steenbergen, who has one of the goals for Swift Current tonight, an all-important one. It got them on the board after the Pats opened the scoring in the first period tonight. Godden for Anderson. And Josh Anderson achieved center red and gets it into the Pats' end. Puteau jams it by Hiponiemi to center. Patterson, who scored an all-important goal, intercepts. Brings it in over the line. Gabriel takes him pinned to the boards. Estevan couldn't get it deep, and Gabriel's pass is gobbled up by Estevan. Put right on the tape of Brady Puteau. He'll achieve the red line and send it into the Broncos zone. Anderson up the far boards, fighting, lets it go as Steele approached him, and it's in neutral ice. Driven back in by Fleury. Collected by Manulin. Headmans to center, fighting, long shot. Glove by Kubik. He'll drop it down, play it to the right of his net, and Fleury up the far boards. Steele going to try and chase it down. Hebig was there, gave it to Sam Steele. Across, looking for Holmes, who has the last Regina goal. Behind the net for Steele. That jumps away from him below the goal line. Sent in on net by Fleury, and a save made by Skinner with the right pad as that found its way all the way to the net. 6 minutes remains in regulation. Long shot, Patterson. Glove by Kubik, dropped aside and played to Holmes for Liam Scholler. Under check from Mallenstein and forced off the disc. Patterson puts it into the right wing corner. Gennaro up there against Cale Fleury. Steele into the fray. Now it comes into the middle of the ice. Elder is shot, deflected up high over top of the net. And Fleury kicks it away from the front of the goal and recovers for the Pats. Shoulder ahead. Left wing at center. Steele takes a bump from Elder. Pats changing. Broncos quickly in over the line on the counterattack. Here's Gennaro's shot. He missed the net going to the stick side on Kubik. Backhanded up to center by Bradley. Driven back into the Pats' end by Manulin. Brady Puteau. Lead feed at center. Manulin had body position on Bradley and knocked it away. Here comes Puteau again. Finds an opening, gets it into the Swift Current end. Josh Anderson to it. Checked by Henry, but back to claim it is Godden. Comes to the right of his goal, and Glenn Godden just angles it off the boards. Past Mahura down the ice. Fans think that it shouldn't be icing, but the linesman says it is, and Manny Viveros pointing at Mahura saying, hey, he touched that puck, or he should have been able to have made a play on it. Shouldn't be icing. That protest is going to fall on deaf ears, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, it is, and we're into the final 5 minutes now, and this is when Manny Viveros will take his time out. You know, just what a heck of a job by both of these groups to be able to respond after tough nights, and now we get both of these teams rolling at exactly the same time. And you know, the Pats are going to have to do a few things now. They're going to have to start managing some risks. Time's not going to really become a factor, I don't think, until you maybe get into the final 90 seconds as a one-goal game. If we were in a two-goal game, time would already be a factor right now, but we have still a lot of hockey left to play. No panic right now for Dave Struch and John Paddock, but you have to start to think about, okay, we got to hold the line a little bit longer. That high forward's got to make sure he's coming back because the defensemen have to try and hold the line. We got to take those chances. We got to commit a little bit sooner and press for the opener, but you have to balance that right now. You got to know who's on the ice. When you got Steenbergen and Heponiemi and Godden on the ice, you might be more prone to backing off.
We finally have our nail biter. We finally have our drama in Game 7. The first 6 games were pretty much devoid of that with the margin of victory for the teams in those first 6 games. But here we have something, as a shot by Holmes is blocked and sits down in the slot and taken by Caden Elder and played at the center. Bumps with Mahura, who gets the worst of it, but Steele has the puck. Sam Steele at center. Backhands in, right in on Skinner, who will glove it and hold on.
Well, they're going to hold on to everything right now and protect the front of the net. And for the Regina Pats, they've got to be able to get some traffic and disrupt Stuart Skinner from making that stop and see if you can't squirt a rebound free. It doesn't have to be a pretty goal to tie this hockey game, just has to get past big number 74.
In the Bronco victories, he's been very good, as has Ryan Kubik of the Pats when the Pats have won.
They've both been good tonight.
Sherlock.
They've both been good tonight, though.
Dumps around on the boards down the ice, and Mahura will win the race to the face-off dot to create the hybrid icing call on the Broncos with 4:28 left.
Broncos are okay with that again. Ice the puck. They aren't too concerned about that right now. But the Pats got to win a draw. They've got to win one.
Yep.
Bradley's been pretty good throughout the series in the face-off circle. Hasn't been the busiest man. Godden has been.
Well, they're putting that 4th person up in the face-off dot area, or in the face-off circle area, to help with retrieving the puck if there's a scrambled face-off. The puck sits there on the dot that 2 centers tie up, but there's Godden winning the puck back. It's rimmed around on the boards, finds Steenbergen at his line, and he'll jab it forward to the Pats line. Aaron Hyman back for Jesse Gabriel. Got away from a man, gave it to Matt Bradley, works it in over the Bronco line, but not far, and clear at the center. And a Let's Go Broncos chant comes up from the fans here at Innovation Credit Union Place. Most of the crowd of 2,890. Steenbergen at the end of a shift doesn't take an offensive chance, just dumps it in deep, peels off on a change, and the Broncos send out a fresh 5. Hyman on the right wing. Bradley deflects. Kara back to it. Hyman in on the play, tying up with Savan Kara. Gennaro ahead for Elder. To the line, not out. Couteau working it to the middle of the ice. On the right wing is Bradley, and that's a shot that glances off Beck Malenstein up into the netting, and out of play with 3:36 left in regulation time.
Hang on, it's going to be a long 3:36, and this is what we've been waiting for, a finish. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm standing, sitting, can't figure out what to do because you're just so anxious and waiting for something to happen. And I know there's still 3:36. We're still a few minutes away from this happening, at least a minute. But watch Ryan Kubik as you start to get close to the final 90 seconds.
Face off. Won by the Pats, held in at the line. Mahura ahead for Fleury. Bobbles and loses the handle. In to take it is Glenn Godden. And the 20-year-old captain makes his way in over the line. Tries a shot blocked by Holmes, who was back defensively. They tangle up along the boards. Steele works it free, and Mahura now comes up the left wing. Josh Mahura in over the line. A shot in the glove saved by Skinner. And another offensive zone face-off for the Pats in the Swift Current end.
That's okay by Mahura. That shot was right through legs, and Skinner just had to make a stop. That's fine. Make the big man make the save. And, as the tensions mount, the game draws on. He's feeling a little bit of nerves, too. You never know if he might let something past him. Same thing at the other end for Glenn Godden coming in. He's trying to let a shot go from outside on Ryan Kubik. Put the puck on net.
Decision to take the draw for the Pats. Wins this one, but they tie it up. And now it's taken by Matt Bradley. Backhands to the side of the net, knocked away. It comes to Andrew Fighton. Fighton and Bradley tie up. Bradley wins it. Sent to the left point. Couteau up the boards and in behind the goal. Henry tied his man up. Lasician back to the line. Couteau keeps it in for Bradley on the left wing. To Couteau at midpoint, a shot. Hits skates on the way to the net. It sits there and knocked to the near boards. Bradley with it again. Couteau in the middle of the ice. Tries a shot. That one glanced off a body and wide. Josh Anderson on the near wing. Uses the boards to lift it over top of the point man and down into the Regina end with 2.5 left to go in regulation time. Couteau for Sam Steele, who winds it up. Steele through center. Right wing in over the Bronco line. Stops up at the half wall. Looks across. Hebig a one-timer. And he missed the net. Nailed the referee, in fact, in the right wing corner. Now Steele for Cale Fleury. The Montreal Canadiens draft pick sifting his way through. Still has it behind the net. Comes out the left wing side. Hebig across for Mahura. Josh Mahura gonna go wide on Estefan, then drops it back to the right wing board. Steele at the line. Moves to the middle, still walking with it. Tries a shot. That hit traffic on the way in net. Loose puck in front. Holmes trying to get a shot on it. It's still a scramble. They continue to bang away at it. It's loose. Somebody find it. It comes free in the slot area. And finally, Heponiemi away with it. Alexei Heponiemi sends it forward. Mahura gets back on him and hands it right to Heponiemi. Heponiemi, forgotten moving in, toe drag around, and he lost it in Cale Fleury. A minute and a half left to go. Kubik looking at the bench. Am I coming out, coach? Dumped in by the Pats. Kubik stays in the net, in the middle of the shot. Now he makes his way to the bench. Still loose in the Bronco end, and Swift Current clears the zone. This has enough juice to not go for racing. Lecition for Puteau. Ahead for Holmes.
It is loud in here now.
And Holmes with a shot off of Artyom Manulin. Up into the netting and out of play. 62 seconds remains in the third period. Swift Current 3, Regina 2. Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. Who advances to the next round, and who are they going to play? That's almost as big a question right about now.
Yeah, and here's the scramble in front. Pat's trying to come close. That puck is loose, but there's nobody in the high slot as that puck right now will squeak out. Nobody in a Pat's jersey, and the Broncos are able to take it the other way. And a good opportunity by Glenn Godden, but a nice defensive play by Cale Fleury and Matt Bradley to keep it out as John Paddock and Dave Schrush call their timeout, and Brad Haroff on that Pat's bench. They are tense and nervous here in the Credit Union Ideplex. We're nervous up here.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen.
No.
And that's all we can ask for.
Third period shots brought to you by Western Litho Printers. 12-4 Regina. 36-21 overall in favor of the Pats. But they trail 3-2. And a face-off in the Broncos zone. In the big circle to the right of Stuart Skinner. The Pats net is empty. Steele, Henry, Hebig, Holmes, Mahura, and Bradley. 5 forwards, 1 defenseman. Godden and Steele for the face-off, the 2 captains of the respective teams. Jab back below the goal line. Kara rims it up the far boards. Mallenstein can't clear the first time. Held in by Bradley. Sissons behind the net. Takes the bump from Henry and gets knocked down. Puck squirts free. Broncos with it. Here's Godden skating it forward to his blue line to center. Mallenstein takes the shot at the empty net, but intercepted by Mahura. Left wing Bradley enters the Swift Current zone. On his backhand, tries a shot, and that didn't get to the goal. Now tripped up on the play. Fans looking for a penalty. Heaving across. Steele, midpoint, back to Steele in front, and that went off of a skate and across to the near wing. Hebig for Mahura. Tries a shot. That's blocked on the way to the net. Hebig up after. It comes free. Steele a shot. That's blocked at the last second by Colby Sissons and swatted up to center. 10 seconds left. Mahura on his horse. Left wing and over the line. Through for Steele to the front of the goal. Intercepted Sissons in the right wing corner. Spins away. 2 seconds. 1. That's it. The Swift Current Broncos have held on. And they defeat the Regina Pats 3-2 in Game 7 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. The Broncos get revenge for last year's Game 7 loss in the conference semifinal. Swift Current moves on against either Prince Albert or Moose Jaw, and the Pats will have 46 days to wait for their next action in the MasterCard Memorial Cup as the host team.
What a game. What a hockey game we finally got here in Regina.
And here are the handshakes right now at center ice. The coaching staffs of both teams, John Paddock, Manny Vivros, and Ryan Smith from the Broncos, Brad Haroff, Dave Schrush. The 5 men directing the 2 teams that put on a great Game 7 show here. After the first 6 games were anything but typical playoff hockey, with all of the lopsided scores in favor of one team or the other, one team dominating as the game wore on, and no real drama. While we got the drama tonight finally, no scoring in the third period, the Pats putting pucks at the net and getting them blocked, or stopped by Stuart Skinner or missing the net. They just could not buy that all-important equalizer.
Well, there's Sam Steele and Glenn Godden, the two captains exchange a little handshake, and you see a little bit more of that as you go on. John Paddock talking to Colby Sissons on the way out. And now the Pats will be left to go back to the drawing board here and get prepared for the Memorial Cup. It'll be a long wait they didn't want.
No.
But what a series we ended up having at the end. What a finish to the series it was.
As the handshakes continue at center ice here, the Broncos advancing. The Pats, well, my own personal experience from 2013 when the Blades hosted the 2013 MasterCard Memorial Cup was that the players got sent home for a couple of weeks and then came back and were put through a mini type of training camp situation by then GM and head coach Lauren Mulliken to try and get them ready for the Memorial Cup. It's a long time to wait. It's an agonizing wait, but that's the situation you're dealt with, and at least you have a chance to play in it. You can discuss all you want whether a host team knocked out in the first round should be allowed to play in the Memorial Cup. It doesn't matter. The fact is they're going to be good hosts. They've got a good team. Just ask the Swift Current Broncos. They know what they came up against in the form of the Regina Pats, but the Broncos survived. And now they'll await to see who their opponent is. Will they start Friday in Moose Jaw, or will they be here Friday against the Prince Albert Raiders? As that celebration between Stuart Skinner and Max Patterson that has become a symbol of success here in Swift Current, done at the end just as the players are skating to their respective benches. Your final score tonight, the Swift Current Broncos 3 and the Regina Pats 2. More coming up on our post-game coverage as this is the WHL Playoffs on Access. All right, look at the crowd here in the Credit Union iPlex in Swift Current. Most happy, most wearing Bronco jerseys, thrilled to pieces that their team have come away with a 3-2 victory tonight over the Regina Pats in Game 7 of this best-of-7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal series. And downstairs, ready to chat with us, is the captain and the guy who scored what turned out to be the game-winning goal in tonight's game, Glenn Godden. Glenn, first of all, tell me about the emotions of coming back and being able to win this game tonight and avenging the Game 7 loss last year to the Pats in the semifinal round. Well, we're not hearing him.
Can you hear us, Glenn? Glenn, can you hear us down there? Not quite. All right.
No, not quite. Okay.
He can't quite hear us yet.
All right.
But,
well, let me run through your third period shots on goal, sponsored by Western Litho Printers, your one-stop print shop for all your signs and printing needs. Pats outshot the Swift Current Broncos in the third period 14-4 as they pressed for the equalizer and didn't quite get it. There's the shots on goal in the third period, and the final tally overall was 38-21 in favor of Regina. All right. Are we ready to go down there? All right, Glenn. Congratulations. Glenn, you scored the winning goal tonight. You avenged last year's 3-2 loss in Game 7 in the semifinal round. How does that feel?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, our team last year, we made moves for guys from Calgary, Lethbridge. Both those teams lost to Regina, so for us, this was a big one.
Glenn, that third period, sitting back on your heels. I know we're having some audio problems here as you get the questions relayed, but sitting back on your heels a little bit, what was the pressure like for the first time in this series?
I mean, we knew it was going to come. We're up 3-2, third period of a Game 7. We know they're going to come. They're going to give us everything for us, trying to limit their opportunities, break their routes, and we did a good job of that.
Glenn, congratulations on the series victory. All the best against either Moose Jaw or Prince Albert.
Thank you.
All right, Glenn Godden, the captain of the Swift Current Broncos, joining us here on our post game as we'll take another timeout. There you see the final. Broncos winning Game 7, 3-2 over Regina. More post game show to come as you're watching the WHL on Access. All right, back at the Innovation Credit Union iPlex. There's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. second period, Spokane Chiefs leading 4-1, goals from McGrew, Zumak, Ty Smith, and McKindu. Mason Manick has replied for Portland. The Winterhawks trying to close it out on the road, but they'll have a Game 7 tomorrow if it ends up being that way. This result holds in Portland.
Kyler Yamamoto had a big goal in the last one, but he's been pretty quiet in this series when it comes to being an offensive guy on the score sheet contributing.
And of course this afternoon, Victoria forcing a Game 7, which they'll host tomorrow night, as they won this afternoon in Vancouver 4-3. The overtime winning goal by former Moose Jaw Warrior Noah Gregor. So that's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Of course, besides Victoria and Vancouver tomorrow night, possibly Portland, Spokane tomorrow night, Prince Albert visiting Moose Jaw in a Game 7 that will decide who faces the Swift Current Broncos in the Eastern Conference semifinal. Here's 3 stars of tonight's game, brought to you by Simpatico. Engaging ads, strategic locations. The 3rd star from the Regina Pats, number 23, Sam Steele. The 2nd star from the Swift Current Broncos, number 17, Tyler Steenberg. And then tonight's 1st star, whom you heard from shortly ago, is Swift Current Bronco captain, number 15, Glenn Godden. The 3 stars brought to you by Simpatico. As we look here on the screen to your brackets, and there's Swift Current moving on into the Eastern Conference semifinals, awaiting the winner of Moose Jaw and Prince Albert. The other Eastern Conference semifinal will feature Brandon and Lethbridge, starting in Lethbridge. Even though Brandon had more points in the regular season, but they cross over as the wild card team, beating the first place Medicine Hat Tigers, and the Wheat Kings don't have home ice advantage, but at least they'll be back in their home rink in Brandon for the second round.
Well, do you go back to Brandon? I'd keep it in Dauphin. You won both the games. No, you'll go back home to Brandon for sure. But it didn't matter not having home ice advantage for the Wheat Kings. And hello, Dylan Miskew. What a story he's been for the Wheaties here this spring.
Absolutely. And of course, on the western side, you see Tri-Cities waiting on Victoria, Vancouver, Everett waiting on Portland and Spokane. So that's that as far as the bracket goes. That's it from here in Swift Current at the Innovation Credit Union iPlex. On behalf of our producer, Kevin Foote, and all the gang with Access Communications, this is your Access Communications coverage of the Regina Pats, brought to you by Tyson Mining, the full-service underground contractor of choice. Visit TysonMining.com. For Darren DuPont, I'm Les Lazaruk. We'll talk to you again very soon.